Hello, everyone. How are you all? It's been a little while since we've done one of these. It has been an eventful summer for me. Abnormally eventful. Why, I recall the good old days in which I would do like 20 of these streams in a summer, which, I think was last summer. Actually, I don't remember how much I streamed last summer. I probably streamed a shitload the summer before, though. But this summer, I've been doing a lot of traveling. So, start of June, like second day of June, trip to Scotland that we had been planning since, well, now a year ago. Over there for about a week, delightful time. Then a couple weeks later, like really only like not even 2 weeks after that, I go on a trip with my mom to see some family up in New England, up in Massachusetts, where I'm from. And then only like a little over a week after that, I go on a cruise that had not been planned until during the Scotland trip. So, just a whole lot of stuff. Cost a whole lot of money. But it was a very good time. All of it. And outside of that, I've been playing some games that I've been meaning to play. I finally finished Red Dead 2. I finally finished Fallout New Vegas. I've been playing The Witcher 3. I finished Hearts of Stone the other day. I finished the main story yesterday. And just started Blood and Wine this morning. Grand old time, all of them. Now for my next big game investment. I'm contemplating whether I want to continue playing Ghost of Tsushima until I finish it, which I haven't done before, or start Final Fantasy 16, because it's apparently just really fucking crazy hype, which, I've been able to see very clearly. But how have you guys been? It's been a while, obviously. Although, I don't think we like when I just sit around here with dead air. No other voices talking to me, so, why don't I just go right ahead? Wait, that's the wrong image. I'm supposed to turn off that one. There we go. Why don't I hop into my good old Discord server and see who deigns to join us for today's events. God damn, my icon's fucking big when I'm the only person in here. Who will be the first, I wonder? Justin's been fine. Tater has been Gucci. That is good. It's good when things are good. So, for those somehow not in the know, today's stream is being done, firstly, because I haven't done a stream in a while, and because there's no JJK chapter this week. There's also no Sakamoto Days chapter, so there's really nothing coming out that I give a shit about today. It actually is Jump on break. I haven't checked. I have no idea. I haven't been on Twitter to see today. But I got nothing better to do today. I mean, I could just play more Witcher 3, which would be nice, but I can use the virtual human interaction. Mark says the trailer for the Undead Unluck anime looks pretty damn good. That is good. I quite like Undead Unluck, though. I also have not read it in like a year. I honestly thought it would have been over by now, with the way that they were, kind of doing the arc. Jump as a whole is on break? Okay, I see. Hold on a second. Now I'm paranoid. If Gege just accounted for the usual jump break, or if we're actually on break for 2 weeks. Oh, thank God, it still comes out next week. Whew, I would have been concerned by that. how am I supposed to get my, scheduled weekly serotonin boost? Some nice endorphins or whatever. Well, as per usual, we'll just wait around here a little bit, chat some. Todo will jump in the VC in like 5 minutes. Perfect. Excellent. Oh man, we got 14 people in here already. Nice, nice, nice. Well, if you guys just hopped in and you haven't already, be sure to leave a like on the stream. It'd be much appreciated. So, fun fact. Let me get rid of my icon here so I free up the screen. Turn on the window capture. This is the tier list we're going to be working with today. I found one earlier that someone on the Discord had used, but it was so bizarre in that it like subdivided a bunch of the fights. So, for example, the fight against Mahito at the end of the Junpei arc, they divided it into Yuji versus Mahito and then Yuji and Nanami versus Mahito. That's a little problematic for me because my judgment of that fight is based on viewing both of those as a single fight. You divide them into parts, and neither individually is going to be as good as I consider the whole thing to be. It's just incredibly unnecessary specification. The analysis would be far too specific. I mean, there's still a few here that I'm a little iffy on. Which one was it? Oh, there was one here. Oh my god, it's 5. Do you even know why I'm in here?
No.
I'm doing a stream right now. That's why I'm in the stream chat.
Oh. Hi, stream.
Hello. You haven't read the JJK manga. I don't know how much you'll be able to contribute to this.
I like... I like the character... Okay, I'm gonna...
Goodbye. Well, there's our first guest appearance for the day. Who will be the next, I wonder? Yeah, so the weird subdividing is just so strange. They separated Choso versus Kenjaku into Yuki and Choso versus Kenjaku. This one still kind of does it here, but it's like... Okay. I guess you could view those as separate fights. And Yuta versus Kuroichi and then the rest of Sendai. I personally view Sendai as just one really long fight for Yuta, but I suppose you could consider them to be separate fights. The same also kind of goes for Maki versus the Zenin clan. And then Maki versus Naoya. I guess they could be separate fights, but I normally just kind of view them as one big fight. But it works, I suppose. At least they kept this one as one, because, I mean, they subdivided all the Sakura and Jima fights. It was so strange. So this one isn't as visually nice, and doesn't have the text that just tells you what fight it is. Oh yeah, they divided up the Hanami fight too here. I guess I'd accept that one. So, shit, I just got really distracted here. Oh yeah, so, you know me, I'm primarily a person that talks about the manga. However, for fights that have already been adapted into the anime, I'll take that into consideration. For example, my rating of Geto versus Toji is very different now after episode 4. Oh my god, it's Neve. Hi, Neve.
So, decided not to join for 10 minutes because I forgot that there are fights beyond the Culling Game.
Indeed, there are fights that happen before and what I would consider to be after it. I know the arc's still technically ongoing, but like I don't think anyone really cares about it anymore.
Yeah.
So I consider it to be over. I don't know. Maybe we'll get an official list of the arcs at some point, and it'll be
Like,
different.
I remember at some point, like, by the point I, like, properly dropped JJK,
Mm-hmm.
with what was going on with the Culling Games, I wasn't really the focus of the arc, because you had Yuki's fight completely isolated. I can't remember where else goes on and where everyone else comes in now. Yeah.
Well, basically, what happens is you have Oh wow! Everyone just hopped in now very quickly. Hello, everyone. Now I can turn on the Discord icons.
It's funny how I send that message and 2 minutes later it ends.
That's
I'm
so.
just
What, they
like,
canceled it, or he just showed up for 2
Oh
minutes?
no!
and-
So it started at 12:30, and the person that was like the people who like host the whole thing were there. They started it, but the person who's meant to run the actual thing didn't show up, so we just talked about other stuff.
I see. Well, I imagine they're gonna
Yeah.
reschedule it then.
Probably.
I'm still gonna mark it in my invoice though.
Of course.
I'm getting my I'm
Because
getting
you
my
did make an
42
attempt.
I'm getting my 42 minutes of pay.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, the best thing when I started my job last year was getting paid for training. That was such a
Yeah.
pleasant thing to find out about.
It is good.
I mean, I guess it makes sense that they would have you do that. I just didn't know that was really a thing.
All right, what fight we at?
We haven't
Yeah.
started yet. I was just waiting for some people to hop
Okay,
in.
so, for a reference for the rest of us, could you link the tier list directly?
Oh,
Yes.
sure
I'm
thing.
looking right at his. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah, it is up on the
Well, so
stream.
we could, you know,
Yeah, so
look
you
at
can-
the
Yeah.
same list of having
the
us here. Scroll, you know.
same thing.
Fair.
So
Yeah.
this list does not have the current ongoing fight, which is fine because it's not over.
Yeah.
So I would wait to do a proper
Yeah.
ranking of it, which is why I specify in the title it'll be a separate discussion.
Mm.
So I guess they have them all in chronological order here. The first one we have is Yuta and Inumaki fighting that one little curse in, what was it, chapter 2 of volume 0? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Zumba curse.
The elephant man. I don't really remember
think that's
anything too remarkable about it, to be honest.
I don't.
That's like D or C.
Mm.
I'm not seeing that here.
All right, then I
either.
guess we're.
Oh,
doing
I-
that can't be
listen.
the right dudes because
No,
my
it's-
first thing here is the
Okay.
finger fight.
It's the right one, because last night, for the sake of doing it all in chronological order, I ordered all of them here.
I
Nice.
see. I was like,
I
"What do you
see.
mean? This is not a. Are we looking at different things?"
It's on here somewhere. As I mentioned earlier,
That
the
thing-
one problem with this tier list over the other
Yeah.
is that they don't have the titles on there,
That
unfortunately.
fight is a solid fight, if I remember right. You know,
Yeah, it was
I didn't
alright.
read it in the manga, but I only watched it in the movie.
saw-
I don't know.
I did both. I think
I'll take
Should
the
we-
adaptations of the fight into account for the ones that have been adapted, because for some of them, the quality generally remains the same, but for others, the quality goes way up.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like if we're just doing the manga version of that fight, truthfully, I'd probably put it as like C tier.
Yeah.
It was all right. Like I wouldn't put it. It wasn't it wasn't a bad fight. It just
Yeah.
wasn't special. But like, of course, you know, map grinding the
Yeah.
animators to the
They
bone.
take them all in
Yeah,
mass
turn
and
it last.
they throw them
make your face.
Actually,
into the
I think
animation meat grinder.
I
Yeah,
think
like,
I'd still
Take 'em
keep it
into
as a
the,
C tier.
I probably would as
That's
well,
what PTA.
because even if
The
it
thing
was
is, like, as a fight, it's more so Yuta trying to find, what was it, throat medicine for Inumaki.
yeah,
It's
I-
a fetch quest.
right.
Yeah, I'd put it in C tier, mostly because, like, I mean, I think if that is meant to be, because I can look at like probably the first things you put in every tier, something you viewed as like a standard for it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's like a standard B tier fight, especially looking at most of the other fights later
Yeah,
on.
I would say, like, with the anime, it's a pretty standard, like, C-tier fight, just because it's, like, you know, it's decent, it's got, good action, not really much in the way beyond that. It's just
Fair.
okay.
Yeah.
Then we
I
have
remember when I first read it,
Mhm.
the choreography did somewhat stand out. So
And I mean, we get to see cursed speech used for the
yeah,
first
one of
time.
the few times we get to really see it
Yeah.
used.
We get to see
So
Maki as possibly a character.
next we have Yuta versus Ghetto. So this fight, as I recall it in the manga, was pretty good. Pretty solid. Definitely not as good as the vast majority of the fights that came in the main series. Probably just because, Gege hadn't done a serialization yet, and then serializing a battle shonen is going to vastly improve your ability to make a fight. But
Effective.
then the movie version added on to it quite a lot, made it quite a bit better. I would probably put it high B for now.
I think so.
See where
Yeah,
we put it
okay.
later.
I think because my thoughts of it, I put it as like, oh, that was an A tier fight. Beyond just the fight of it, the narrative present as well about the two special grade sorcerers clashing with different views and how all that unfolded. Looking at like the character moments that Yuta had were very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see where I decide to put it later. Once
Plus,
we...
if that includes some of the little skirmishes beforehand,
Mm.
could go lower. I think right now I'm gonna put it as A.
I'll keep it in B for now, and we'll see where it goes. Now we get to the main series. We have Yuji fighting the Finger Spirit. This is not a very long fight. It's not much of a fight, but it does have really good emotional stuff in it of, Yuji getting fucking trounced.
Yeah.
And then we have the opposite of that, which is Sukuna versus the Finger Spirit, which I'll put up just a little bit above it because it's more entertaining, especially in the anime. Because, you got the voice acting and the animation.
I think I'm putting him with C tier.
Yeah.
I was about to say C tier because like by this point you don't really have too much investment in like any of the characters yet because it is of course start of the series.
Right.
Yeah.
I think C tier. C tier is a solid spot for where a lot of the really short fights are going to go. A lot of the one chapter fights are going to be C tier.
I was gonna ask, make it low B because this is the first time we see domain expansion.
That is true, but I think we have better instances of it. So
Probably.
we then go on to Megumi versus Sukuna, which had pretty good choreography, good emotional stakes, and then the ending for that fight was very good. I would probably put it somewhere in the lower B tier.
I agree.
I think so. Yeah.
Next,
A.
we have Gojo versus Jogo, which I generally feel is the point at which people either do or don't get sold on the series.
Yeah, I remember when JJK was still gaining traction. Like I was stacked on Twitter time. So like every 2 or 3 days, you would see someone get to the page of Gojo actually using Limitless Void.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm seeing this page an awful lot. I think this is getting people sold in the series or something.
Yes, indeed. And then, I'm pretty sure. I mean, you know how shonen fans are, casual anime viewers. When they see a big stupid hype thing with really good animation and pretty visuals, that's where they go fucking crazy. So when an episode comes out that shows a bunch of people how yuckers disgusting Gojo is, that makes people very interested. All those things, other than it just being a very entertaining trouncing that does a good job showcasing why Gojo is the strongest character, establishing the power ceiling for the verse very early on, which I think can typically be a good thing to do. Just to kind of establish very early on, this is as far as we're gonna get in the power
This
escalation.
man is
Especially, actually following it.
Yeah, actually following it to this day. Listen, so far, we only have someone who is in the same league as Gojo in terms of another person. No one else has been stronger than him yet until we get the conclusion of the fight. I can maybe view one possible scenario in which a person becomes notably stronger than Gojo, and that just depends on what Kenjaku ends up doing, because now he's obviously going to be the final fight of the series, and I could see his big plan resulting in something like that. But until then, mere hypothetical.
He implants his mind in the funny man.
Oh, yes, of course.
And he just like, wouldn't it be funny if you died and then they died? That's hilarious.
And we laugh.
So
So I'll put this fight somewhere in A tier. I think it's quite
I think
good.
I have an A.
I agree.
I
think
would have
that-
said B, but
I would say lower in the A tier. I just
Gay
But look,
A.
more important than Gojo, it introduced the best old man character in manga, Jogo. So
yes, of course.
Oh yeah.
Well, so it's very consequential just for the series in general. Introduces the big thing for the power system, Jujutsu's big gimmick that somewhat distinguishes it from other series.
yeah.
The new Bankai. That's what this fight's here for.
You have your pocket dimensions. Go nuts.
Gotta love them. Next, we have Megumi versus Todo. This fight overall is pretty basic. However, it is kind of our basic introduction to Todo, which is great. Gives some more explanation for Megumi's power, and in the anime, it's very well choreographed. It also has the funniest thing of all time. So I think, based on the absolute fucking insanity of the first color page spread for the series, I think generally Gege plans things out very far ahead of time, which is not that hard to do when you're going to be doing a series that's somewhere in the ballpark of like 250 to 300 chapters. However, I believe I've seen some people question whether or not he had always planned on Megumi's trump card being Maharaga. If he did always intend for that to be the case, that means that anytime Megumi gets into a somewhat difficult fight, he essentially pulls out a fucking small thermonuclear device out of his back pocket and threatens to kill himself and everyone within like a 10-mile radius.
That's what makes looking at early JJK so funny in retrospect.
Yeah, he does
like,
not know when to use this thing.
Megumi, this is one guy. Please do not blow up the entire region
This
you're standing in.
is a slightly powerful cursed spirit. Please put away the nuke.
God, it's
Please
funny.
put it away, son.
He's gonna whip it out like 3 times on Hanami.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Hanami was the strongest thing he'd encountered at that point and kind of whipped the shit out of everyone. So that would have been a fairly understandable application of it. This one here, but this fight serves for his character development to make him stop fucking doing that all the
This
time.
fight against another student, by the way.
Fight against another student. I would say this fight still goes somewhere high C tier.
Yeah.
Now we get to Nanami versus Mahito, which is our introduction to Mahito's fucked up powers, and we get overtime. These are 2 great characters. My personal favorite character in the series, and spoilers for a video I maybe plan on doing in the relatively near future, my favorite antagonist. I would put it somewhere around here in B tier, lower B tier.
Like,
I was gonna say,
it's more of
purely
a
because of overtime.
scuffle than a fight, if I remember.
Yeah, that is true. It's not that long. However,
But that's a good scuffle.
It's a good scuffle. It's solid. Now then, we have Yuji versus Junpei. It's whatever. It's okay. The main focus very clearly isn't, the fight. It's more so just Yuji trying to stop Junpei from doing magic school shooter shit. And Junpei is pretty weak, so it's not like it's very hard for him to do it. I would put it like somewhere in C tier.
I'd
Probably
say top of C personally.
top of C? What's your personal reasoning for that, might I ask?
It has been far too long for me to say, but I remember thoroughly enjoying it.
Character
It is
and
character.
narrative, which are
I
very
What he
essential.
said.
Good
That is
fight.
true. That is true. However, it's very short and I don't remember many of the beats of it. That's really all I can remember about it is the character stuff. And I think there are fights that have a lot more of both. Better. So, I'll put it, I'll bump it up a little higher into C. Looking at it compared to those two, which were even less of actual fights, I'll put it up a little higher. Then we get into the Mahito fight from the end of the arc. I love this fight. It's very good. Both in the anime and in the manga. Because you have Mahito killing Junpei. You know, this character that we've basically spent the whole arc getting to meet and know, and is kind of being built up as a possible new addition to the main cast, just gets fucking killed. Just like that, in very horrific fashion. And then the main villains laugh at Yuji over it in a whole big double-page spread. Or, for the last 2.5 years, one little video clip. It's very good at establishing just how fucking evil these people are. It's also very good for establishing how evil Sukuna is. Because with most inner demon characters in manga, they're usually kind of morally gray. In some way, shape, or form, they either want to help the main protagonist or they had good intentions at some point. And the main protagonist intends to, you know, sway them very securely to the side of good. That doesn't fucking happen here. Sukuna is fucking evil. These guys are and always will be curses. And then when you get into the actual fight,
made from evil energy.
big shocker, the guys made out of negative emotions that subsist off of human suffering are not good. And never will be good. It is just in their nature to be bad. Because they're made of bad. They are made of bad.
17 people watching.
17, we got 18. Oh, it's fluctuating between 17 and 18. But only 12 likes? That's abnormal. If you're in here and you haven't already, you should smack that like button.
All right, now to increase the activity, make a really controversial take.
I'll make
Jump to one of your
really controversial takes.
All right, let's lie out of our asses here, right? Dagon fight, F tier. Put down there.
I don't listen. Dagon had no build-up.
He was just
but I'm not really sure which of my takes are really controversial. Oh wait, I have an idea about what could be a really controversial take. Here, I'll put this up here for now. I'll put the Sakura-Jima fight up in high A tier.
Ooh.
Nova versus Broom Girl is top of S.
I'm not lying. I'll just put that up there preemptively and then put it back down so it doesn't bug the shit out of me. There we go. Like the stream for controversy.
Yeah. I like this because we're different.
So you get to the fight. Yeah, in the anime, it has very good animation for the most part, but it had a lot of really good panels in the manga. A lot of the Yuji rage panels with all the scratchy art, very good.
Yeah.
You had the Sukuna moments. The first one was really funny. It's just like, are you Listen. We shared a laugh at the kid's expense. It was funny. It was hilarious. You're a great comedian. Don't fucking touch me ever again.
Do not.
There won't be a second time. Then you got my boy, Nanami, show up. We evolve into the world star hip-hop fucking smackdown that everyone loves posting whenever we reference someone getting jumped. It is flanking rules. They just beat the fucking piss out of this guy. The anime did that so well. Yeah. And then we get to Mahito's domain expansion, which the anime did so fucking. I think they said they basically had a guy doing the animation for that that's just really good at animating hands, which is good because fucking lot of them.
Sound like I thought of it.
It's probably
Nanami.
I wonder if that guy liked the Mona Lisa.
I do wonder. a perhaps 33-year-old man that enjoys eating sandwiches in the park.
He lived a very normal life.
Loves to live a
What a
quiet
beautiful
life.
duang.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Then we get Nanami's flashback and his
I love that one.
statement at the end there. I have no regrets. That's what sold me on his character, in all honesty. That's why Nanami is my favorite character, because that is relatable to me, because I know people that fucking hate what they do with their life and really only care about making money. So I'm just like, damn, Nanami, you're one of it is the first time in a while I'm very cynical when it comes to like media and whatnot. You're one of the first characters I've encountered in a very long time that I find to be a good, genuine role model for people.
Yeah.
And then you got Yuji break in, and that looks so good in the anime. And then what the ever-loving fuck did they do with that simple double-page spread in the anime? I want to tell you, it was Christmas Day when that episode came out. I was sitting in my room watching the episode on my phone, and I'm like, God, this is just so good. It's just perfect. And then I see what looks like a flailing PS2 model with a bunch of like goopy CGI blood pouring out of it, and I thought I was hallucinating. I was so jarred by it that I thought it wasn't real. But in the manga, it's so simple. It's just, hey, I thought I told you there wouldn't be a second time, and he just flicks his fingers and cuts him open. So I'm going to discount that last part from the anime. I put this fight very high in the A tier.
I think so.
I agree.
Grand old time. So now that we finished the first major stretch of the story, you got something to say, Chol?
Now we're into that real shit.
We get to the real shit. The first very good arc.
Yeah.
Or rather, this is where we enter the stretch that I would consider to perhaps be peak JJK. Like, this fight all the way down to the Mahito fight. You can include the Kenjaku thing if you want. That's peak JJK. There's a whole lot of shit in this stretch of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, before we get into that, let's check in on the chat a little bit. I see we've gotten up to 20 likes, which I love to see. And we have 19 viewers, which is very fucking good for a stream. And also, our views, the concurrent viewers, the regular is usually somewhere between like 8 and 12. We'll say 10 for an average. So we're doing quite a bit above average right now. But an interesting thing is that the view count, I guess it counts how many times people click onto the video. It's only at 49. And usually, for a stream that has this many concurrent viewers, the number's a lot higher, which means a lot of people are clicking in and they're staying, tuned into it. So I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Let's see.
Refill your popcorn.
Yeah, refill your popcorn.
Jinx. No, wait, let me soda.
There you go.
Yeah, for you.
Let's see here. CS 1004 Kano says, man, I always give a like on your content. Not big on JJK, but the Kenyan stuff is fire. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. I sometimes enjoy it.
Someone does.
It's good to know someone enjoys.
Someone enjoys Kenyan here.
Dempy says Grasshopper versus Yuji instant S tier if we're being real. Well, let's see where it goes.
Let's see what happens.
Mark said a couple of weeks ago I read Sakamoto Days for the first time and it was sick as hell. It is sick as hell. I love Sakamoto Days. It's the only thing I read on Sundays. Let me tell you, JJK is a fucking TCB release day, whenever in the week that is. Sakamoto Days, that's my Sunday reading. Like some people's parents, they read the Sunday paper. Now I pull out my phone and I read Sakamoto Days for 3 minutes because the chapters are really big.
Yeah.
My Sunday Sakamoto Days. Yeah. And I know some people asked a while ago, some people ask every once in a while why I stopped doing Sakamoto Days reactions. Simply, the chapters are so fast. I read them in like 2 minutes. It's not good reaction content if it's just kind of an off week. because the chapters that take longer to read are ones that don't really have that much reaction-worthy stuff in it. I read Sakamoto Days because it's hype as fuck, because it's just got really entertaining action. It's got great choreography and art. I don't read it that much for, like, the story elements. They're alright. They're mostly just there to be serviceable. I read Sakamoto Days for the fight scenes. And the week-to-week for that is really fast. So it's not great for doing videos on. Mark says everyone's viewing Gojo versus Sukuna almost as its own arc, like Baki versus Yujiro. Well, it's not going to be as long as that.
It probably won't be.
Probably won't. That's what I think. Listen. If we somehow maintain the quality, I wouldn't care that much. Excuse me.
I don't know, I think if this fight went on for another 20 chapters, I'd be like,
I mean,
are we there yet?
But we're not going to, obviously, because
Culling Game is over, so this is basically
we have in the most recent chapter basically set up the final stretch of the fight. We've set the conditions for the fight ending, so I imagine it'll be done within the next 3 chapters or so. So it'll be, I think, as long as the Mahito fight from Shibuya. I think it'll be about the same length, and that was already quite a long fight. I remember when that fight was going on, it was like, holy fuck, this is a long fight.
Yeah, it was super weekly, yeah.
The peak.
Mahito fight from Shibuya.
It just keeps getting better.
I mean, listen, that fight's the reason that this channel and this Discord exist as they do now. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, we're doing it in chronological order. Jobber says Megumi versus Sukuna is also one of the most important fights to the plot due to setting up Sukuna's interest in Megumi and also Yuji dying leading to Enchain. That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Mark says, I remember the Gojo clip was everywhere after episode 7 came out, so it exploded super fast. Yeah, that was the one where I was like, when the season started, I was like, when is this fight happening? Oh, around here? All right, that's when it happens. This is when it blows the fuck up. This is when the big numbers go big up. And what do you know, it did. Yeah, and Jogo is voiced by Buggy's VA.
Oh, that's nice.
Mark says it subverts expectations for showing a sad flashback and killing the character, at least for me. That's true. We do have a lot of those, and then it didn't happen. Zaref says Hakari versus Kashimo is definitely top 10. You'll find out where it goes. Tater says it's top 3 for him.
Yep.
Zaref says, have you read Return of the Crazy Demon? That does not sound like something I would read without a very good recommendation or seeing something insane from it. That is such an insanely generic title. Is it a webtoon produced by the same people that make every other webtoon that's like Solo Leveling? Because it feels like it probably is. I feel like every webtoon I see that has a title like that looks like it's made by the same people.
I mean, looking at it right now, looks like it.
What do you know? I'm a prophet. Anywho.
Alright.
It's time to start Goodwill event. We've got Yuji versus Todo.
S tier. No, it's probably like...
I think it's high A.
High A?
High B or low A.
Low A.
Low A, I would probably agree, just because it's fairly short and low stakes, but it is very important.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I think low A is fair.
It's when Todo becomes Todo.
Yeah.
It's when he starts his brotherhood with Yuji. It's where we introduce the most incredible character gimmick of all time.
Yeah. The thing that also happened to Choso and Adabi said, oh yeah, it's not this person's power. They started... it just happened twice.
It's Gege doing a little bit of trolling. I think he just decided to be a little devious and fuck with people when he decided to use the same exact phrasing. And then he just had to specify, he's like, no, guys, I was just joking a little bit. I was just yanking your chain.
I'm just doing a little trolling, please.
Yeah, it's just your chain being yanked on. Yuji cannot insert himself into people's memories. It just happened to happen twice.
Yeah.
How did it happen twice?
In similar circumstances.
Yeah, I think low A is right. But...
Low, I would agree. It's a fucking Todo fight, so it goes up.
Yeah, if anything, like post Goodwill Todo goes like below A tier, I'm putting you down with a bullet.
I would you know what fights he's in. Why the fuck would I do that?
I don't know, man.
Gege knows how to use him. I just wish he would fucking use him again.
Wait,
But you know,
Bring it back.
damn, this tier list doesn't consider the Mei and Todo.
he doesn't
Table
consider the
tennis match.
ping pong.
Yeah, it does
So,
not consider.
I want to tell
No.
you something really funny about the first tier list I looked at. And Tater, I think you used that tier list a few weeks ago. I
I
can't
used
remember.
it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So that fight subdivides so many of the
so
fucking
much.
fights. It divides the Mahito fight from the end of his first arc into 2 fights. It divides the Hanami fight into 3 fights, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Let's see. It turned the Kenjaku fight in the Tomb of the Star into 3 fights. It turned Sakurajima into 3 fights. It was just like, why are you doing this? It turns the Megumi Sukuna fight into 3 fights. It's like, what the fuck? And then it doesn't even include the fucking smallpox deity fight. They forgot it.
But I was like, it's a fun scuffle.
How do you make 3 different fights? For
By the
one
way,
fight?
Free, I haven't
Forget
heard
a
you
fight.
speak in like 15 minutes, so I don't know if you're just not talking.
I'm doing comic review.
Good. I just wanted to make sure. You know, it's very awkward when someone's muted and they don't realize it. They have mic problems. So, next we have Panda versus Mechamaru. A pretty good fight in the manga that was made into a slightly better fight in the anime. I would put this probably somewhere in B tier.
It's
Yeah.
not a panda.
Panda's not a panda.
Mm.
Man, first read JJK was so funny. It was just such a wacky experience. And then I reread the series and I actually understood everything. Reaper's gonna do that reread at some point. Everything will be so much clearer for him once he does that.
You could see
I
clearly.
thought he did that.
Nah, he hasn't gotten around to it. I think he reread Hidden Inventory at some point, but he hasn't done a full series reread. Which,
I
you
mean,
know,
he's reread what matters, so
yeah, he did reread one of the best art, and I think he reread Volume 0. Probably before the movie, I think he reread it. But, you know, regaining an understanding of the power system and shit, stuff that you'll probably forget, details you'll forget when you read the series over the course of like 3 months, and then read it weekly. And you don't have my brain, which is really good at remembering details in a thing that I really like. So, yeah. Next we have Maki versus Miwa, which is pretty much just a scuffle. It's kind of a stomp.
Yeah.
It's a
I mean, it
very
happens, that's
well
fine.
animated stomp in the anime.
Yeah.
It had great
say
animation
low
and choreography. I would probably also put it low B. I just really enjoyed it in the
Yeah.
anime. That episode was so insanely well animated. That came out, and I was like, why is this episode so nice looking? What the fuck? They went fucking crazy with the animation and directing for that episode. It was very good. Next we have Nobara's first dedicated fight and one of her only solo fights against Momo. It's okay.
Squeaky Hammer.
The squeaky hammer's really funny.
Yeah,
It's
gotta admit.
I like the character stuff in it, so I'm not gonna put it down in D tier. But it's kind of like really bottom C tier. It's just really short and not that interesting.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Next we have Maki versus Mai, which is not much of a fight, but it's basically just here is their conflict. Here is their backstories and the dynamic with each other. So for that, I'd probably put it up a little higher in the C tier.
Yeah, it also has one of my favorite underused tracks in the anime.
It has been a while since I watched the anime, and by that I mean I didn't watch season 1 since it came out. I don't normally rewatch stuff unless I'm like, I really want to rewatch this.
And even then, you usually only rewatch scenes, right?
I normally only rewatch scenes.
The Jujutsu Kaisen track called Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh my god!
Those 3 fights.
Whoa!
It's basically just the
believe it.
extended version of like the mid-episode change.
I see,
Oh.
I see.
That's cool.
So, next we have Megumi versus Kamo. I'd put it somewhere in like upper C tier. I'm not sure if I'd
Yeah.
put it above the Todo fight or not, because Todo's just way more entertaining. But
Oh yeah.
they introduced some cool powers and strategy in this fight, so you know,
I think that's mid B.
mid B. What do you like about it enough to put it up in the B tier?
I really like blood manipulation, even if he underuses it.
I do love blood manipulation. Good thing we've got another person who uses it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all of his fights will be above this one. You know what?
Yep.
I'm fine with C. I'm fine with C,
Okay.
actually.
Next we have Megumi and Maki versus Hanami, but I'll just
Love
include
blood
everyone
manipulation.
fighting Hanami in that one.
If it's everyone versus Hanami, bro, like listen.
But
Yeah.
we keep the Todo one part of
Separate, because
But
that one,
separate.
that one gatekeep,
That
that
one-
one gatekeeps us.
It's
Yeah.
gatekeeps. Well, for this fight, I just the typical Jujutsu Kaisen fight formula of the villain is way stronger than the main protagonists, so we need a lot of weaker characters to fight this really strong character. It's generally done really fucking well. It's done
And it's really cool
well.
to see how they work together.
Teamwork.
I'd say it goes upper A. Between like Yuji Mato and Gojo and Jogo.
Yeah.
I'd say.
And also, you know, the panel they use here, the fucking duo attack.
Yeah. Ah!
And also,
It's
So tasty.
we get werewolf version of Divine
Yeah, we
Dog.
get the fucking
Mhm.
totality.
We get
Um, I would put this probably somewhere in A tier. I think in terms of like the choreography, just seeing a bunch of it's kind of the opposite of the Jogo and Gojo fight. That makes it, and then you add in the really good art and choreography. Yeah, I would agree. I would put that there.
You know what? Actually, no. I'll try to bring it up when we get to the fight.
So Yuji and Todo versus Hanami, it goes in S tier. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There we go.
Simple
gatekeeps
as.
us here.
For you,
Simple
it
as
keeps
that.
S tier.
To get into S tier, is it better than this fight?
Yeah.
There are definitely a couple.
There are a few. I
And
think
frankly,
Exactly.
when I did my best fights video about 2.5 years ago, it was right after the Mahito fight in Shibuya ended. I think I had this fight as my top 3. Is it still in my top 3? Well, it's time for us to find out. Because I haven't really ranked the fights since then. In my mind, I haven't bothered.
yeah.
And we've had a fuckload of fights since then. Some of them
Oh,
are
yeah, the
really
fight
good.
arc.
Fight.
We had
So
the
good
fight
for-
arc. We had the Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
We had the sorcery fight arc.
I
So,
love
you know,
the fight that
that's-
highlights one of the most simple yet like complexly used powers. I love it. It's just such a simple power, but you can use it in so many fucking ways.
So
And for the anime, we get some of the best tracks introduced.
Yeah,
true,
And the
true.
reuse of
We get the track called Boogie Woogie.
Boogie Woogie.
The track they use for Yuji and Todo's entrance at the start of the fight, I fucking love so much. It's
If
so
we're talking about
good.
track, though, the next fight has a banger.
Oh,
The
does
next
it?
fight has Your Battle Is My Battle. Which is
Fucking
peak.
love
No,
that
no,
thing.
no, this also has.
That for
this one
me,
also has
that for me is
Oh, it
the
does?
combat
Yeah.
track.
literally.
Oh,
that-
that-
Oh
before
yeah,
this
yeah,
phase-
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
during
yeah,
the Black
yeah.
Flash scene, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
Oh,
have
and
it
then
when they're fucking like when Hanami's doing all the big crazy tree stuff. So for starters, let's talk about all the really good shit in this fight. One, Hanami's so goddamn cool.
Yeah.
I love the disaster spirit. They're just so fucking cool. Great design. I love plant powers. They're so sick. Then you have Todo. He's
Oh,
Todo. You know,
he's
Yeah.
Timothy.
he Boogie Woogie.
It's so
It's
funny.
such
It's so
a
cool.
fucking good. The name
Yeah.
alone puts it really high up there, and then you have something so simple, and because it's so simple, it can just be used to such effect. I love. Oh yeah, I use my hands. I clap my hands to activate my technique. That doesn't mean I use it every time I clap my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, 2 things moved, not specifying which 2
Yep.
things.
You have to
Yeah.
have curse energy. That's it.
And yeah, who knows how much?
And then there's a thing, his last use, well, use quote unquote,
oh, we'll get
where
to that.
that just solidifies it. Oh,
Yeah.
Listen,
The
and
fucking
then we also get
you get Yuji character stuff. Better? Yeah.
And then the track they used for Yuji's first Black Flash being
Yeah,
the same one Nanami does his overtime with like the piano and it.
It's when Yuji falls into he just accepted. Thank you, my best friend Todo.
Brain shut off. We just hit hard.
We hit, and then they just start beating the fuck out of Hana.
Beat the doo-doo dog shit out of Hana.
Oh,
It's crazy, bro.
Wait, then is Gojo's Hollow Purple also technically included in this?
I guess I'd include it. It's the ending of the fight. It's Gojo going,
Yeah.
okay, I'm here, the fight's over. Go away.
Okay.
Hollow Purple.
I hope you guys had fun. Goodbye.
Yeah, I hope you guys had fun because Mr. Things Can't Happen is here. It's time for an example as to why things can't happen while I'm here. Cause I'm just the guy. I'm top one, bitch.
Yeah, also, this fight has the greatest panel in all of JJK, which is all
The
the Todo
clap.
clapping faces.
Oh my god, it's so
all
good,
the Todo
man.
clappings around Hanami. Oh,
Such a fucking good fight.
yeah.
Whew.
All right.
Let's see here. Since that was one we had to talk about a lot. We had a lot to say about that one. I'll check the
Anyways,
chat.
back to looking at the stream.
Back to looking at the stream. You can provide your judgment of where we place the Goodwill fights while I read some interesting things in the chat. Mark says, I remember I had to get my best friend in the series after episode 7, not for the hype, but for the bit where Yuji was watching Lord of the Rings. And I knew he'd die laughing because he's a big Lord of the Rings fan, and he did. Sometimes you just know people. Mark says the director who did the Maki versus Mai episode is the same director in charge of season 2 now. Well, good fucking thing. Good fucking thing. He's so much better. I mean, it's not like the season 1 director did a bad job, but that Maki and Mai episode looked so fucking good and was so well directed that I was just like, why is this the part of the arc that gets this treatment? What the fuck? So then they just went, could you please do the really big emotional arc? Or, you know, it's not a long arc, but it's big emotion and important. And they went, actually, do the whole fucking season, please. And that's just why it's so good. We are currently at 28 concurrent viewers. That's a lot for a stream. And we're at 22 likes. Why don't we fucking pump that number up? If you're in here and you haven't already, hit that like button. Danielle Leverett says Sakamoto Days fights tier list would be awesome. Well, you know, depending on how long the stream goes on for, and if I can find one, maybe we'll do one.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The director also did episode 8 of Chainsaw Man where Katana Man shows up. Is that the one where they fight him in full, or just the one where he shows up? Is that the one where Himeno almost commits statutory rape and then Katana Man shows up? Because that was also a very well directed episode. The Chainsaw Man in general has like fucking insane directing. So I've never seen an anime produced in such a cinematic manner. That's the point. It was crazy. It's because they know Fujimoto's a fucking movie buff. So
yeah.
That makes sense. Oh, well, yeah, fucking obviously. The opening was literally just a bunch of movie references. Soundtrack for Season 2 has been good, but not as good as Season 1, at least so far for me. That's fair. I think we just need some more of the big fights. And hopefully some more tracks with them.
And I think they're going to use a lot of Season 1's track because...
That makes sense. I mean, you have it there.
That's the library they already have.
Yeah, it's not a 40-year-old sound library, so you might as well use it.
I fucking hate Toei! Ah!
Listen, they're changing the sound a little bit. They're putting in some old WB sounds now.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, of course. Fucking Looney Tunes bullshit.
Literally.
Well, at least that was well done.
I love I find it so funny. It's great. Exactly what I want.
Yeah, Toei's so funny because they could fucking drag people over from all across the goddamn planet to form the most elite animation team of all time. You could see them take a really unremarkable One Piece fight because it's a One Piece fight, and turn it into one of the greatest visual spectacles you've ever seen. And you go, wow! And then it's just the same repeating sounds recorded in the 1980s over and over again, playing over
And
again.
then
And I go, wow, this
they
sucks.
take that one really good animation. They play it 5 times back to back to back to back to back.
Well, you know, we gotta maintain that
watch
half
time.
chapter for episode pacing.
Oh,
Like, I
God.
think in episode 1071 that happened about 5 times.
Yeah, I know they have, you know, some of those episodes, you just gotta put 5 flashbacks in it.
Yeah.
Don't watch the One Piece anime. Just fucking read it if you're going to.
Yeah, just.
I will
read it.
say, this watching your 5,
read it,
that's
and
a lot
then
of
you
fun.
watch
Yeah.
the clips
That's what I
for
do,
stuff
yeah.
like the
Yeah.
Katakuri fight.
Boo.
That's what I do
This
for
is
mine.
one of your worst takes, I have to say. It's
The-
this
and
and
when
not
you have
liking
few
Lord of the
bad
takes-
Rings just because
the
your fucking
Katakuri
friend made
fight
you watch
is-
it.
The Katakuri fight is cool. The Katakuri, the villain, is like...
He's a good antagonist, not a villain. I love
we could
Katakuri.
get into this after...
We can get into
after
this, not now because I don't feel like it.
Yeah. Okay.
I try- because you just don't care.
I
enough.
don't. Sometimes, listen, pick your battles, and by that I mean if you don't care enough about an argument, just don't fucking have it.
Yeah. Alright.
So now it's time for Origin of Obedience, an arc that I originally just thought was kind of alright, but then it got animated, and I went, oh, this is actually a really good short arc.
Yeah, it's nice. It's short. It's simple. Yeah.
Really good in hindsight. It sets up and you know, sets the groundwork
Yeah.
for a lot of important things really well. So we get the Megumi versus the Finger Bearer Curse, which is a very good showing for how much stronger Megumi's gotten since the start of the series.
I love Chimera Shadow Guardian.
I also love Chimera Shadow Garden. Another good thing this is doing is helping Megumi not be so fucking idiotically suicidal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There is a difference between
I must kill myself.
there's a
right now.
difference between
With this
winning
treasure.
by dying and dying
With
even
the
if you
treasure.
win.
I bring food.
So instead of summoning one of the most cracked entities in the entire verse, just do a domain expansion. Just do normal high tier abilities.
Get greedier.
Yeah, you need to be greedier. That fight is really good in the anime. They did such a good job with it in the
Uh-huh.
anime. The thing that the anime has done really well is it's taken fights that I already liked quite a bit, and it's pretty much adapted them to be of the exact same quality. And then it's
Yeah.
taken fights that I'm just like, whatever, and it's made them really fucking good. It's just boosted the overall quality of all the fights. This fight, I would put somewhere in A tier.
I think lower A tier is fine.
Lower A tier. I'll put it over the Todo fight for now. Below the Gojo and Jogo fight. For now. Then we get Yuji and Nobara versus Eso and Kachizu. Another very good fight.
Yeah.
Nobara
double
being
black
cool, unthinkable, unheard of.
Nobara being
Yeah.
unheard of.
And also one
Can't
of
wait to
the
have those
realest
moments later on.
Mhm.
one of the realest
Yeah.
lines in JJK, if it's only pain, Yuji does not care.
He will not stop. And the double black flash. Oh,
We get
Yeah.
we
Oh,
get
you
that
good
one
there?
narration that the anime onlys are missing.
I'm so sad they exclude the narration. I understand for some people narrators can be a little bit much. Like, there are people that don't like all the narration in Chimera Antarc. I understand
Those
why.
people
The
are taking to
guy-
funny time.
The
They're
narrator in Chimera Antarc has at least half of all of the dialogue in the arc. But everything he says is just
Fucking
so
neat.
fucking good that I'm
Yeah.
like, why would I complain? Why would I complain?
Hey guys, just think, when Hunter x Hunter returns, we'll get 10 chapters. Think of the gift. I
Oh, the
remember
page. The page that they added a little bit of imagery to in the volume release.
The man chosen by the Black Sparks.
Chosen by the Black Sparks. And then, you get the emotional stuff there. These, like, random, really hideous, somewhat one-off villains get really
Yeah.
good characterization. I'll put it even higher in the A tier.
Yeah.
True.
I'll put it below the Mahito fight for now, just because
And
it didn't
also,
make me the emotional the same way.
Gotta mention
Nanami
the
did.
fucking animation for this fight is insane.
The animation is
Oh,
insane.
and then
There's only
And
one
it's got its
thing.
own track too.
It
Yeah,
does. It
remember
has its
Peak?
own unique track. I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
There's only one
Also-
thing I kind of don't like about Mappa's animation for some things, and sometimes during the really big, highly animated scenes, everything just kind of seems like it's fucking sliding around.
Now here's the thing, right? In every single upload of clips I've seen for this fight, right?
Uh-huh.
That one part where Yuji somehow slides
Sliding.
along the fucking like cliff
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It always has screen tearing. Like, hopefully that was fixed in some sort of Blu release. But like,
Imagine.
Mappa, check your rendering software, buds.
It's a little questionable.
Your
it's just like
product
they have
has
it.
screen tearing.
It's in the Hanami fight. It's in this fight. It's a little bit when Gojo uses blue against Toji, where it's just like it almost seems like something is moving, and the background is a totally separate thing that it's not a part of.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird and takes me out of it a little bit. But that's like, me nitpicking very high quality
Yeah.
animation.
And also, like, you see it in a lot of other things too. Like, when we were watching Castlevania the other week, that, definitely stood out.
Yeah. They have their own they kind of do something similar to that. I don't know the studio that makes Castlevania, but they have that sort of thing with some of the big fights with the big animation, where it becomes a little bit flowier, I guess. I don't really know how to describe it. But what happens with their stuff is a
Glidey?
little different. A little glidey. Yeah, I guess that's a good way to describe
Yeah.
it. And it's works better in some scenes than others.
Yeah.
Now then, it's time to check the chat again to see if anything else interesting happened. Because it's time to talk about a fucking hidden inventory. Yeah, the fight's way more significant when you get the later context that context that Yuji's
What?
committing
Nah.
fratricide.
Yeah.
It was a great fight to end season 1. I originally wasn't sure they would get that far, but then the pacing for Goodwill was like, oh yeah, this is just kind of all fights, isn't it? And then I kind of wished they ended on chapter 64, because that's supposed to happen before Hidden Inventory, but now they're just going to have it after for reintroducing the main cast and doing recap, I guess. So that's fine. That's okay. As long as it's well animated, because it's still one of my favorite chapters. It's just a really good little slice of life chapter.
As long as it looks really pretty.
As long as it looks really pretty and has good directing. For non-combat scenes, the most important thing for me is good directing. Yeah, 2v2 fight isn't that common. Usually we're a little more lopsided. Mark says, I think in the Baki anime, they go a little too far with the narration, but I think it's worked very well with the narration, explaining Pickle's thoughts. Well, yeah, because Pickle doesn't talk. He doesn't fucking speak English. So
All
just
he go ook ook.
having people describe what he's thinking and explaining it is really good. Pickle is somehow a very good character despite never actually saying anything to people. Now then, time to get over the last few fights that have been animated. We've got Ghetto versus the Cursed Spirit user,
Ghetto shit.
aka an old man fucking dies.
Isn't that
Oh my
like
god. It's the
5 pages?
Oh, it's
If it
it's
counts
4
as
pages.
one.
It's
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me you know what? Let me do
It's
that.
two double-page spreads.
Let me do that thing I really like doing where I pull out one of my JJK volumes and go to
Oh,
it.
wow.
Now,
Well,
obviously,
like, there's like, I remember he like flung the spirit at Ghetto beforehand.
yeah, he
right?
flung the spirit at him. He summoned some spirits, some Shikigami, and then Ghetto fucking had his giant worm spirit try to eat him. And the guy jumped out the window while Ghetto's vision was blocked. So he leaps through to attack Ghetto, and then you turn the page, and the entire page is this fucking dog here. It's the whole page. And then that was really well conveyed in the anime with just it zooms in on Geto's eyes and then just the dog appears. Everyone's reactions to that, I watched a few, they're
I just need
perfect.
to check season 2 out now.
We'll binge it at some point. The hidden inventory's
Okay.
done. They did all 5 episodes, and I
Hmm.
wouldn't mind rewatching them.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And then the hallucination is ended by Gege deciding to go, what if we just had 2 pure double-page spreads, no other panels, of Geto beating the ever-loving fuck out of an old man? This, obviously, is not as impactful in the anime, because you can't really convey 2 whole double-page spreads just for beating the shit out of someone in moving animation. It was well animated and well choreographed, but obviously the impact that comes from the paneling of it just being 1 spread can't really be conveyed. It's the same issue with the Jack Uppercut. The Jack Uppercut is fucking amazing because of how it conveys speed and motion in a medium that doesn't have either of those things.
It's just not the same.
It's just not the same because the rest of the fight has movement and speed. So it's just not going to be as impactful. I put my copy of Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 8 back in my bookshelf. What other volumes will get pulled out? Probably Volume 8. Or not 8. Volume 10. Volume 10. I just pulled out Volume 8. Silly me. Anyway, this is not much of a fight, but it's so fucking funny. So I'm going to put it somewhere in
It's
like
like C.
mid-C tier.
Yeah.
Now,
So, this next fight is this
Geto
including
versus Toji. Oh my shit.
the anime?
Who would have
I'll
expected
fight
that to be the highlight of episode 4? So the fight is pretty decent in the manga. It kind of has the same beats as the fight in the anime, where Toji fucking blasts Amanai. Just what a jarring page. What are you doing here, huh? Oh, I see. I killed Satoru Gojo. Oh, really? I see. Then die. That's good. Great chapter ender for a fight. And then the fight happens in one fucking chapter, I think.
I think so.
It has the funny shit of Toji being in a fight with someone that's summoning fucking demon ghosts and just trying to shoot them. But not in like a panic manner, just very casually and flippantly fucking shooting them.
But the anime does it so good, where
Yeah.
he's getting literally like dragged down, and you just see his arm appear out of the
Yeah.
dragon into
Yeah, so I know some people were complaining about not having one-to-one shot adaptations for the anime. These people obviously have room temperature
Brain damage.
IQs, and their opinions should be discarded.
Would you believe
But what we
Arrow
have here
Bow?
instead is Toji gets grabbed and pushed away by the rainbow dragon, and while that's happening, Toji just reaches around its mouth and starts fucking shooting at Geto from like 1,000 feet away.
You really gotta wonder what those sort of people would think of the Uzumaki adaptation that's being made, where they're trying to like recreate every single panel.
Oh, they would talk about how faithful
accurately.
it is. It's so faithful. It's such a faithful adaptation.
It looks so bad.
Some people will one day learn, hopefully, we can only pray, that, in fact, different mediums are different.
Adaptation does
Really?
not mean one for one.
That's
No,
impossible.
That's crazy.
could believe
Tire
such a-
iron.
To the skull.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, one of the best things about this fight in the anime is that instead of them just fighting in like this open little courtyard area, they fight throughout the Tomb of the Star. So we have them like going through hallways and smashing through buildings and stuff.
That's cool.
It made the fight much more dynamic and interesting. It also has them like walking parallel to each other down different hallways, so there keeps being these little barriers. It makes it much more interesting than Toji just standing around and explaining his heavenly restriction to Geto.
Well, Geto just stands there
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna kill this guy. But
Yeah.
not yet.
Also, we have Geto doing fucking finger guns to shoot cursed spirits. We also have the big Cyclops curse from Volume 0 shows up for a second.
That's cool.
Yeah,
A whole second.
a whole second. As you can imagine, the things that we expected to be really good, such as Toji cutting Rainbow Dragon in half, and the stupid anime swordsman bullshit that he does. You know, the thing. He does a judgment
The
cut.
X cut. The X cut.
Yeah, looked phenomenal. It was just great. This fight with anime, I'd put very high A tier. I'll actually put it at the top of A
Sounds like
tier for
it.
now.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
and then we
was
got the next fight
fantastic.
is the people.
So I'm going to include the entirety of Gojo and Toji's fight, rounds 1 and 2. A lot of people really, really like this fight, and I understand why. Never seen Gojo in such a state as this. Not really, until recently. And Toji's just the man. You know, he's just the hype beast.
Yeah.
We fucking love this dude.
The
Characters
most bisexual.
in a setting where there is a magical power system and they don't have that are always peak. It's great. Did you say Toji's the most bisexual?
Yeah.
Now, there's a bit of a problem with this, and that
I think
according
that'd
to
be
the
ghetto.
to the funny businessman that Toji works with, Toji only ever pays for women when he eats with them. When he goes out to eat with a guy, they're always the one that fucking
Listen.
pays the bill.
Yeah.
Okay. At the very least, he has a preference, a big one.
Yeah.
He is also apparently, according to Gege, an expert of smooching off of women. You know, like just fucking living on their couch and eating all of the
Pull
food
out
out of their
the,
fridge and then just disappearing.
Pull out the volume 9. It's
Oh, is it?
after the chapter. Well, yeah, it's after.
Pull out
the-
volume
yeah,
9 now.
All right, I have volume 9 out. Let's see
After
here.
the chapter, because Gege's like, I didn't know if this was in line with Toji's character, and he's like, but no, he's a master at freeloading.
Yeah, when did he say this? Oh yeah, you're not my type. Yeah, when
Yeah.
you tell this fucking demon ghost thing shows up, gives him a condition, or it'll attack him. You're not my type. I first thought Papa Guro's response was a bit gentle, but then I remembered he's a pro at freeloading off women, so I left it as is. What a guy. What a dude. So in the anime, obviously the fight has really good animation. We add on to it a little bit with like Toji getting fucking blown through buildings and shit.
Yeah, as you do.
Although another example of can't really fully bridge the gap in different mediums is that we don't have some of the really fucking good paneling that's in this fight. The two double page spreads, the one where he uses blue. When he uses blue in the first round, and you've got him using the technique to divide up the panels and also show where Toji's getting thrown to, you can't do that in an anime. It just wouldn't fucking work. We compensated for that, however, by having just really good directing and animation for the fight. And then we get to round 2, which I think is the part that most people are like, oh, this is one of the best fights in the series. And then the anime adapted it, and they probably were like, that was kind of underwhelming. Yeah, well, guess what? The fight in the manga is Toji tries to attack Gojo. Gojo dodges and hits him with a red. Toji tries to attack Gojo again, and he goes,
And then
eat
gets
this
hit with all
purple.
the
And then
purple.
the fight's over.
Yeah.
That's the whole
This
fight.
fucking purple.
This is...
What was
this-
lost was the heart.
I can't believe... It's really a shame that Viz doesn't translate the editor's notes at the end of chapters. Because some of them are really good. This episode 4 of season 2 is like the finest example of how if a fight's already really good in the manga, they just leave it the same. They don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And then if it's just okay, they add so much shit to it. This fight, maybe this will be one of my controversial picks. This fight, I'll only put in like A tier. And you know what? Here's the real controversial take. Because of the anime adaptation, I'll put this below the ghetto fight, actually. Here's your hot take for the stream. As a fight,
We're
I
different.
prefer. However,
Mild spice.
The fucking hollow purple spread I still consider to be one of the best spreads in the series. It's just such good, clever paneling of here's my speech bubble over where the attack's hitting you. Great time. Grand old time. And with that, now we've talked about all the fights that the anime has adapted thus far. So now,
Not to mention, the
I don't-
anime also does have Toji attack multiple times.
Yeah.
And actually has a pretty cool way of attacking him by using the chain to loop around a pillar.
yeah, it's really listen. This is why chain weapons are kind of peak, you know. You know.
Oh,
Now
hollow purple.
with that, we have now gone over all the fights that will have been adapted until the anime comes back in a few weeks. So let's check the chat a little bit before we get to post-anime content. Now I don't have to consider both anymore. Now we're just in pure how good is the fight in the manga.
Yeah.
There we go.
And we
We're
will be doing-
untainted
we'll be doing
ground.
the tier list once the anime finishes.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's the title. He forgot to include the part so far in the anime,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
and that's why it's all manga panels.
Right, yeah, obviously.
Mhm.
So now we get on to the prelude to Shibuya, the evening festival, where we have Mahito fight Mekamaru in a fucking Eva unit. So I remember reading this fight originally when it came out, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. And then when I started buying my physical volumes, I got volume 10, and I decided to read through it a little bit because I was bored. And I went, holy
chapters.
fucking shit, I don't remember this fight looking so amazing. I think this fight has the best art in the entire series.
I
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
yeah. It's up there for sure.
You have the hype factor of a fucking Ava unit showing up.
Yeah.
You have Mekamaru's
11 year,
emotional stakes. Oh, also, yeah, have fucking 17 years worth of cursed energy buildup and so fucking ridiculous. You have that. You obviously have the fear factor that Mahito introduced because, well, he's the only guy that's really killed characters at this point.
Yeah.
So him showing up to fight a side character, you're like, oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, no, a side character's fighting the main villain? Oh, no.
Oh, brother.
Oh,
over.
no.
And then it was over.
And then it
Just
was
as guessed.
over.
Rip,
Well, the imagery, the scenario, choreography, the emotional stakes for the fight, which are really good. You know me. I love romance. And Mekamaru and Miwa have, like, one of the only canonical relationships, kind of, or would
Yeah.
have in the whole series.
Well,
A ship that
would've,
never had the
yeah.
chance to sail. What a fucking tragedy that one is. I'll put this fight S tier, actually. I love this fight. I'll put it below the Hanami fight, but I still put it up there.
I agree.
Now then, we get to Shibuya in full. We have Gojo fighting the disaster spirits.
Okay,
So
this
this fight is
It's-
really funny when you think about something I mentioned earlier, which is typically the antagonists are much stronger than the main characters.
gonna
So
bring
you
this
need a
up.
lot of the protagonists to team up to beat this much stronger antagonist. Here it's the opposite. Gojo is just so fucking strong that all of the main villains have to work together and lure him into a situation in which he has to be as careful and tactical as possible and can't exert his power to its full extent. And he still whips the shit out of them.
He kills Hanami.
He fucking kills Hanami.
Flattens.
Oh, you're holding your weak
Fucking-
spot? Cool. Rip.
Splatters Hanami. And then it's just like, who's next?
Me.
This fight's so cool. I only have one problem with this fight, and that's that I think the mechanics behind Prison Realm are kind of stupid. It feels very plot to me, and there's like, oh, it just has to be a minute per the target's perception. How the fuck do you quantify that? How the fuck does that work? That's not really part of the fight. That's just Kenjaku showing up and going, hi, the fight's over.
Oh.
I
I
put
remember
this-
your friend who you killed. Haha, hey,
Hey, it's me. I'm gonna hit you with some
twirls
emotional
hair.
trauma. I'm gonna put
Yuji
this
near home.
fight. Would I put this? I'm gonna put this above Gojo and Toji for now.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
I imagine
Also,
when this gets animated, it'll go above the Ghetto and Toji fight.
Yeah, probably.
It's gonna go crazy. Then we got Yuji and Megumi, one of their few team-up fights against Mr. Inversion Man. This fight is solid. It's pretty decent.
I think it's B.
I would agree. It's a B tier fight. B tier.
Yeah.
B tier looking a little sparse here.
Look, got their puzzle mini boss.
Their puzzle mini boss. Gotta have one. I would put that. Would I put that above Panda and Mekamaru's fight? I think I probably would. I suppose I would.
That's fair.
I just really like the complexities of it.
You like the funny man.
The funny man is funny. Let's see here. We've got, versus the fucking the people, where he does his powers a little bit, and then Toji shows up and beats his face into a fucking pulp. I think he destroyed Ino's eye. Actually, I think he's lost his eye. He rearranged his facial structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we got that. I would put that somewhere in like lower C tier. It was all right.
Yeah, I think so.
Alright, grasshopper spear.
The grasshopper
Ah.
spirit. This fight,
Make that X here.
the X tier. So this fight, it's just a one-chapter scuffle between Yuji and this random cursed spirit. But the grasshopper curse is so fucking funny. I know, because I'm smart. Smart person wouldn't say they're smart. I can't believe it. He's smart. And then you have, look at the fucking panel they used for the fight here. It just has so much
That
cool
and
shit in it. Low B
2
tier.
versus 4.
The 2 versus 4, but why am I the only one getting hit? I'll put it B tier above the Miwa fight. Next, we have Nobara versus... I had tried to forget this person's name. Or I didn't try to, but I remember we didn't know it for so long, and then we found it out, and then he fucking died immediately.
Or something.
No. It was when they explained his
No, I'm
ability.
pretty sure his name was revealed after he died,
They
right?
explained his ability right before he died. Why do you
Right
have
before he
this?
gets cut.
Why do you have this image edit? Why did you make this?
I know, I saw, underwear
It
shape.
really does. That's what I was thinking. I just don't want to bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh
under
my
the
lord! Thanks, Neve. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Oh my fucking god. Somehow Grasshopper's fight's better than Nobara's fight? Yes, sir. It's more entertaining. Speaking of Nobara's fight against this guy, is D tier. It's barely a fight.
Well,
Unless we count Nanami beating the shit out of this guy. I'd say we do.
And
that's
do we
the count.
see Nanami
it
listed
includes-
separately
it
in
includes
here?
Uh,
I don't think so.
We
I
gotta
think that's
put.
counting this.
I think we gotta put something in D tier. There's nothing in D tier yet,
Yeah, there we go.
which is
Nanami
indicative of the overall quality of fights in the series.
Before the Culling Game.
Nah, there's still the smallpox deity fight. That's neat. It's nothing too remarkable.
Yeah.
It's nifty. I'd put it like low B tier. Actually,
I'd
I'd put
probably
it.
put it like...
I'd put it actually.
I'd
No, I'd put it a
say-
little higher in B tier. Actually, I think I would put it above the inversion guy fight. I'll just keep it below Yuta versus Ghetto.
Alright, and then best fight in the series.
And then we have the raid.
I see the little countdown thing in that fight of the smallpox date, and I'm like, man, that's really cool.
Gege, could you please do
This does something
more
for me.
nifty shit like that again, please? I mean, I
Yeah,
say
have,
that, but
have more suicide birds.
yeah, those. Do more,
those are so
do more
awesome.
cool paneling again. I feel like not enough of the powers that we've gotten lately have allowed for really cool paneling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except, I mean, like, we could have had that with Udo's. She was the naked lady, right?
Yeah. There was still some neat stuff in there. I need to reread that fight.
Yeah, I think like there's good potential for that with her, but like it was more so just the scenery changed, not really the panels, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that and just thinking, Either he used some sort of digital effects for this, or his assistants want to die. Because doing the warp effect with that sort of accuracy consistently must be really fucking hard. Now then, time for the best choreographed fight in the series. Yes.
It's my number
It's
one
Yuji
fight.
versus Choso. In terms,
It's definitely up there for me.
this fight, this is literally, what is it? The fight from the Raid 2? Is that the one that this is just very obviously taking inspiration from?
I believe so.
It's just a hands fight. It's just you have
And
a
then
bit
we
of
also get blood manipulation.
you have some blood manipulation, which is always great. And you have Yuji doing big stupid hype shit to counter blood manipulation, and then it's just, well, we're in a space where you can't use your powers now. It's time to go fucking hand-to-hand combat. The narration for this fight is so fucking good. Let me go pull up.
Pull out another volume.
I gotta pull out another volume, as I do,
Yep.
because this fight has one of my favorite bits of narration. It's just such good hype for Yuji. Oh yeah, you also have the really good character stuff for Choso, because this is where he becomes an actual character, because it's kind of his first fight.
Actual appearance.
It's his first major
I
appearance.
also like him
helping in the
being
Gojo
shown
fight.
doing like a wee bit of tabletop gaming with his
Well, then he also
coworkers.
participated in the Gojo fight this arc.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. So, yeah. Basically, just Yuji being so cracked as a physical combatant that Choso has to start making up new shit to do with blood manipulation that's really fucking dangerous to him. Yeah, and then the narration explaining their thought processes. Just having all the water flowing around all over the place while it's going on. I'm so glad we have this new director for this. This fight with all the movement is just gonna look so amazing. Yeah,
All that movement back there.
Yuji gets fatally wounded, but doesn't freak out because he understands his role and thus turns all of his fear into cursed energy that makes him stronger. He doesn't view himself as the main character, so it doesn't matter if he dies as long as victory is achieved in the end. Let's see here. Even as a sorcerer who uses blood manipulation, controlling all blood vessels is impossible. By hardening the blood within the body, the risk of sudden thrombosis develops. However, Choso determined that Itadori was the more severe threat. You are a more severe threat to my life than the fucking blood hardening in my body and killing me.
Which is fair, because if he didn't do it,
Yeah.
you'd
He would
kill him
kill,
regardless.
Yeah. This fight, everyone knows it. Everyone understands it. It's an S tier fight. Where does it go in S tier? I put it above the Hanami fight, actually.
It's my number one fight.
It's
not-
just so...
It might not be my number one fight for long in this list.
And then we get to the Dagon fight immediately.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is the stretch of Shibuya, man. Oh my fucking god. We get to the Dagon fight. I did a whole video explaining why the Dagon fight, I think, structurally is the best fight in the series.
And I'd agree with you.
So, do I put it over the Hanami fight? I didn't originally. Originally, it was the number 5. Actually, I think it was the number 4 in my top 5, and then Hanami's fight was number 3. Would I put it up now?
If I were you, I would.
I think I would. It's just
You
got so much
would
cool shit in it.
go
It's just so fucking
behind.
cool. It's just everything in this fight is just so fucking cool. It's just such a cool fight. Just everyone involved has such cool gimmicks, has such cool powers. I love projection sorcery. I love Naobito and Dagon talking past each other and just ignoring everything the other one is saying. I love domain expansions. This is like the best example of why they're so good, because it's just a sudden scenery change. Oh, we're fighting in like a subway tunnel right now. actually, now we're fighting on the beach of a
And
tropical
then
island.
Giga's like, you know what? How do I make this better? I'll bring my favorite character back.
And
Sure.
then Gege brings his favorite character back.
Yeah.
He's like, he's so bad.
I do think narratively, Toji is the weakest part of Shibuya, but no one cares. No one gives a shit.
Toad.
It's Toji. He's they would all bear witness to the bare flesh of the one who is free, to the one who left it all behind and his overwhelming intensity. That's the chapter I caught up to the series on. That was the last thing I read.
Yeah, I caught up just at the start of Jogo vs Sukuna.
Nice. Yeah, this fight, fucking easiest here. No question. Everyone knows it.
No, I think you're wrong.
You think I'm wrong?
Yeah, you like Dark Souls 2 tier, get out of here.
Now then. Continuing Toji doing stuff, we have Toji meets his son and kills himself.
He's got to do it again.
He has to do it again. I'd put it top of
He
C
needs to
tier.
come back a third time.
I would put it top of C tier for now. I'm sure the anime will
I
bump
think
it up.
so.
Seeing the Maki versus Miwa one above that's really funny to me, but it really is just, it was so crazy in the anime that I just can't not put it up there. Now then, before we get on to the last stretch of Shibuya, let's check the chat real quick. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Oh, hold on. Let's see. How much do I need to get? Oh, yeah. The high kick that Toji gives Geto after cutting him was so extra, but I like it. It's so icky in the anime because he cuts him and then he just spins around in the air to do that fucking roundhouse kick. It's got like that whistling sound effect of him spinning around so fast. Oh, it was just so gross. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, they don't have the little Jogo's appearance right after Dagon dies listed on here.
I guess. Yeah. Would you include that as?
Yeah,
its own fight?
I would count that as the Dagon fight, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Like he's comes and he's like,
Dagon be gone.
Yeah. Nabito was the second fastest sorcerer.
Yeah.
But that's when he had both arms.
yeah. I was like, hey guys, I like burning people alive.
And giving a character an even better design.
Yeah.
Field says, considering joining VC to join the discussion, volume's been adjusted so it shouldn't be echo. Well, I mean, if you want, we still got room in here if you want to hop in. Yeah. Toji split on the Rambo Dragon and 2 does go hard. Chilled says, you know, the anime made the Geto fight more impressive because Geto got humbled so much harder, which makes his loss to a quote-unquote a monkey more interesting. True. It does further convey just how hard he got fucking styled on. Jabber says Mahito breaking into the cockpit's one of the creepiest moments in the series. That is probably his creepiest panel. Just the way he looks there.
I posted that panel in Texas Speech.
By the way, if you don't mind, since we're getting into post-anime stuff, please start spoiler tagging things. Since it's not in the JJK chat.
We click this little red trash can icon on next messages.
No worries. We keep the stuff that got the edit though.
Yeah, of course.
Whoopsie, we forgot where we are a little bit. Not everyone here has read JJK, I don't think. Not everyone in the server has read it.
Yeah.
The other ones that have it probably don't care, but you know, we gotta maintain
just to be safe.
But yeah, that was definitely very spooky, creepy. Mark says, oh yeah, speaking of Mappa, I enjoyed the Hell's Paradise anime despite the production struggling after the first 4 episodes. What happened after the first 4 episodes?
The quality was just like a little lower, but honestly, I think it was just as good. But like,
I haven't seen it. I know other Matt, also known as Nat, watched and greatly enjoyed it. I need to sit around and binge it at some point because I love Hell's Paradise. It's one of the only other series I own volumes for.
I'm getting.
It's just Barnes & Noble's really bad at selling the earlier volumes. I have like a whole gap that I'm trying to fill up before I buy any of the later volumes. Let's see here. Anything else? Yeah, Haruta kicking Nanami and comparing to a brick wall was peak. That was kind of peak, yeah. Yeah. Megumi versus Toji's a B tier fight according to Chilled. It does have the good emotional stuff. Yeah, fine. I'll pump it up to bottom B. Now then, Sukuna versus Jogo.
That's us.
Another instance of Jogo's really strong. Unfortunately, he just keeps fighting the two strongest characters in the entire verse.
Yeah.
The most unfortunate jobber of all time. This fight has fan-fucking-tastic art, and it's the end for Jogo's character.
Let me find my
Put
favorite.
it
He was Gigi's strongest soldier. That's why you kept
somewhere
getting
A
toughest
tier.
battles.
I'll put it lower A tier for me personally. And then we get the Maharaga fight, which is also really big, stupid hype bullshit with really good art. Finally, after 100 and something chapters, finding out what the fuck Megumi keeps trying to summon, thus making every previous instant of it really goddamn funny.
Because, like, wow, he was about to nuke the Tokyo school.
Yeah.
He was. I would put this fight... I'd probably put it, like, right next to that one, in all honesty. It was just really good. Now then. The fight that made this YouTube channel.
Yep.
The fight, this fucking... All that we have here. Everything you
That's
see
my
before
second.
you is built upon this fight.
Oh,
It's my second.
really? That's fair.
I will put it at top one for now.
Yep.
For now,
Yeah.
top one.
I
Will
think
it be
it's entertaining.
dethroned? Who knows? It's currently the longest fight in
I
the
know.
series. It is the resolution for the entire dynamic between Yuji and Mahito. Mahito, who was the best antagonist foil to Yuji thus far. There has not... I don't think there's been another villain that's had this good of a dynamic with the protagonist. Second, obviously, being Sukuna. We'll see how good the payoff for that's going to be. It should still be pretty peak. Given how good, you know, the little taste of it was.
Oh, yeah. Let me...
Just gotta reply to a message real quick like. Yeah, what is there to say about this fight? I don't know. Go watch my chapter 132 reaction. It's still one of my...
Yeah.
It's my best reaction I've ever made for anything. It remains one of my favorite videos I've ever made. It's the reason... I think that one's the reason Neve joined the Discord server.
True.
It blew up in terms of viewership. I think it got like 13,000 views. So it's one of my most viewed reaction videos.
Declaration of the Soul.
It led to the fucking the first
Hey, Chad.
great influx of people into the server. It was part of what contributed to the channel getting really big at the end of 2020. This fight means a lot to me for a variety of reasons.
It's a bang. It's a great.
I
fight.
owe a lot to this fight. Most of my income is
Every once in a while, you look back, you're like, thank you for my pennies.
thank you for giving me like $150 every 2 months.
Yeah.
And you know, all of the other not monetary things that I owe to this fight.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's the fight. It's great choreography. The emotional moments are just fantastic. Yuji's at his best when he's at his worst, you know?
Mhm.
So, oh yeah, you have Nobra's death, which is really good in the moment. But then I think the way
Yeah.
Gigi's handled it after the fact has been a little
Yeah.
questionable.
It's one of the things that made me heavily dislike JJK. I couldn't enjoy it. I just kept getting dragged on, like, no.
After a certain point, I was just like, she's fucking dead. I don't care.
Yeah.
The bitch is dead.
Be
I'm gonna
like,
keep reading the
Nobra's
bullshit.
flashback.
It's
could
not
be alive.
0. I swear. Not 0. I'm
Watch.
fine with her being alive. Just make her brain dead.
Yeah, have her. If
I-
she's a fucking potato now,
I
it's fine.
think it would be bad writing if she was dead. I think it'd be worse writing if she was just fine.
You know what? I think I see.
Great
Some people
vegetables.
predict the way that that last remaining finger is gonna come into relevance is that we're gonna have fucking resonance used on it because that would hurt Sukuna without having to attack him directly. And I'm like, that's a great idea, but I don't really want Nobara to come back. Oh wait,
Yeah.
I know what we can do. If Nobara is just brain dead, Yuta can just copy her power.
Yeah.
What we
Like-
thought would happen with Hana if she was dead, or fought them. It's an option.
Thing. Nobra's flashback. I would personally say it's out of like single character focused flashbacks, not counting full flashback arcs.
Mhm.
Probably one of my favorite flashbacks I've read
It's really
Like just from
fun.
JJK or just from series in general.
in general.
Wow,
That's
I
it.
see. Wow, that's quite the impact from that. Do you, since you, as a matter of fact, live in the middle of fucking nowhere, do you perhaps find her backstory to be somewhat relatable?
Me.
Wow, what a fucking that's
Wow, no way. A character flashback having something that
Wow.
you find relatable from your own life experiences, making whatever happens to them impact you way more. I can't believe that. I've definitely never experienced the exact same thing that I've mentioned in this very stream.
Like, she pops on that fucking train at the end of the flashback. I wept. I was in a VC reading it. I had to fucking leave when it came out because
Oh wow.
it just hit me.
Can't wait till this fight gets out. And then
Yeah,
you know,
me either.
as you would expect from one of his best friends dying right in front of him, Yuji is just mentally destroyed by this.
Aye.
And so
Oh, yeah.
Mahito beating the fuck out of him and us seeing a cursed spirit get Black Flash was one of the biggest oh no moments in the
And then
whole
Todo
fucking-
shows up.
And then
And
Todo
then
shows up.
The best motherfucker shows.
Let me go read his speech. Let me go read it. I gotta read it.
Nobara
Because
deserves
it's
what
just
she got. She plays bro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Gay,
she plays ball.
Runs out, does fucking party tricks her emotions.
he's so good at it.
One of my
God, that
favorite-
Black Flash spread is so good. Let's
I also love that. Yes, I am a true curse.
I am a true curse. It's just when he's fully realizing himself. I love what he says here. Tell me, Yuji Itadori, have you ever stopped to count how many curses you've killed? No, right? Me neither. Me neither. Like I care about how many people I've killed. I'm sure I'll eventually forget about you too. So, I like when the main character doesn't view themselves as the main character, and I also like when a main villain says, you are not that important to me. You think what we're doing right now is really important, but in the future, maybe, I don't know if I'll even remember this. This is the worst day of your life, Yuji, but for me, it's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then the man appears. A clap. Let's see here.
Uh.
The sound of the Gion Shoujo bells echoes the impermanence of all things. The color of the Sala flowers reveals the truth that the prosperous must decline. However, we are the exception.
We are the exception.
We will never disappear. We're always gonna be here, baby. Who else could you really have to lift Yuji's spirits other than his
man.
his brother,
man.
his best friend
Yeah.
Todo?
The man
Yeah.
amongst men.
And then the two men just beat ass. They just beat ass. And then Mahito just keeps whipping out new shit. I was so upset. You know, the chapter where he does his transformation was actually the first chapter I planned on doing a reaction video. However, not only was my internet not working that day. My Wi-Fi wasn't working. There was also a lot of landscaping going on outside my house for fucking hours. So it was just impossible to do. So I was like, God damn it. This would have been such a good reaction to have fucking Todo. You have Mahito talking mad shit to Sukuna, which nobody does. And then Todo loses his hand, but then he does boogie woogie by clapping, fucking high-fiving Mahito. And then you see his locket.
It's not his
Oh
own
my
hand.
god. Oh my god. And then he does a transformation. I'm like, oh no.
Not to mention, I
He's
think that
so
transformation
strong already.
is really cool.
What's really cool?
The transformation.
Oh yeah, instant spirit body of distorted killing is one of my favorite designs. It's really good. Because, well, not only is it creepy.
Transformation.
Oh yeah, it's sick. Sometimes mouthful names are just peak. Sometimes
they are.
you just throw a vast quantity of words together, and just having more of them makes it more peak.
Just throw buzzwords in front of a character's name and you'll make
Indeed.
it sound
I mean, why do you think Maharaga's isn't as good, though? Maharaga's is too much, which is why we just call him Maharaga. Sometimes if we're in a hurry, we just talk about Mahito's transformation, but when I can, I say the full name. I remember when that chapter came out, I was like, wait a second, is Mahito a fucking curse womb? Because if so, it's kind of over. It's kind of done, so. If that was literally just him in a fucking larva state before. The threat, they built him up as a threat so well, because I really feel like the implication was that he was on a fucking exponential incline of becoming stronger. Like, if they didn't beat him there, he would just become so disgusting. He would just keep getting stronger. And then you get 132, which to this day is my favorite fight in the entire series. Yeah. It was also the last time we got a Black Flash, and as of the next chapter, I do believe it will have been 100 chapters since that chapter. Hopefully we get another one soon. I feel like the way the fight's currently set up, we're priming for one, because they just have to punch each other for the rest of the fight. Well, for the most part, they just have to punch each other for the rest of the fight. That chapter's so good. It's just Yuji's whole speech, just the way that he's come to view himself at that point, and then Mahito, who's just always been this smug little shit, just being absolutely terrified. He shows his true colors. He's a cowardly little rat. With the imagery, it's just.
Yeah, and then the bear shows up.
And then the big fucking bear shows up. And then we get into Kenjaku kind of whipping ass a little bit. I'd put that somewhere in B tier.
I remember, when the, Bunny and Wolf, spread got leaked. I saw a lot of people in comments under a post about it saying like, oh, I knew it, the Black Flash caused some dimensional distortion and they've gone to Norway. And they're gonna meet Nanami's parents, whatever.
I remember that stupid bullshit. I swear to God.
Funny. That's
Listen,
fucking hilarious.
I have to say,
like, anime fans are...
as a demographic that gives me money through watching my YouTube videos, shonen fans, battle manga fans have to be amongst the dumbest fucking people on the face of the earth.
They are. Right. They're so funny.
They are kind of funny in a way, such as not realizing that futons are real.
Because that's one of the best parts about that fight as well.
Which part?
Mahito pulling off a 0.2 second domain.
Oh, that was fucking... It was just like, oh, Gojo
He's like the
improvises a thing. John top of the verse pulls a thing off. Improvises it. And this son of a bitch goes, how about I try copying that? And then he just does it.
Yep.
Oh, and then also
Prodigy... Listen, Prodigy villains are terrifying. It's one thing when you have a protagonist character who's just like, oh, what's their gimmick? Oh, they're a prodigy. They can learn how to do things really fast. They can copy things just by seeing them. When an antagonist can do this, it's like, oh, fuck.
It's so over.
It means that the protagonist has double the work.
Double the work. Which is why we bring out a whole nother guy to help them out.
Yeah.
And then the panel where they're about to punch each other, where I originally thought Yuji's like
yeah.
kind of snarling.
Oh,
But
realizing
it's actually
that.
just the fact that he had part of his cheek ripped off.
Oh yeah, that. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh my crap.
Oh,
Listen,
that's another best part about the fight.
I
Scars actually stay around.
the Yuji scars have stuck around. It doesn't look as good anymore because Gege went. I feel like drawing this way forever.
Yeah.
But
I hope the I wonder if the anime is just gonna change it to be the mouse scar, or if they're just gonna go, we'll draw the face scar for
the
you.
face scar appears in all of his promotional art now. Like every time he shows up, it's now Yuji's default design. So I imagine they're gonna keep it. I just hope they keep the version that we have here in the manga originally, where it's like closer over the bridge of his nose because it just looks better there.
I didn't hear a bell.
I didn't hear no fucking bell. Oh man. Oh, we'll get to a mighty fine instance of that again later. Now we get into post Shibuya, or as many would say it, when Jujutsu fell off.
Which you know,
I view it this way.
Shibuya is a very high point.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the way I view it. Basically, the entire rest of Bleach falls off after Soul Society. Hueco Mundo and Fake Karakura are still very good arcs. Fake Karakura is a very fucking good arc. You know, it's like Culling Game, actually. It's basically just a bunch of fighting for like 60 fucking chapters.
Aye. Which, you know,
I like it.
Still stays a low point. Like, especially in a weekly format, it just don't work.
You gotta binge it. Just go back and binge it at some point.
Maybe, at some point.
So,
Like, weekly consumption is the worst. Media should not be consumed this way, ever.
And yet, I must sacrifice myself for it. On the bright side, it gives me something to look forward to every week. So, you know.
Yeah.
And it gives me a way to make money by just talking.
There you go.
So we get to the first two post Shibuya fights. Our intermission fights, if you would call them that. We've got some intermission fights here. This row we've got here. The first two are what I originally thought post Shibuya was going to be, where we didn't really have any indication that the Culling Game was going to happen, and I was like, oh, we're going to have Jujutsu Civil War happen. Probably would have been a pretty cool concept for an arc, because, well, I mean, we kind of still got kind of the same shit out of it, which is just a lot of sorcerer fights. But we start off with Choso versus Naoya. It has more projection sorcery.
Where Choso becomes actually
And
really cool
and
character.
you know I love projection sorcery. But Choso goes from being like a C-list character for me to like a fucking top of A tier. I have never had a character jump up so far into my favorite characters. Just that the fucking speech. It's another one I gotta read. I gotta pull the fucking thing out again.
Another volume.
Another volume. Does 16 have the chapter in here? Let's find out.
I'm gonna need to hop out. I got a lawn to mow.
Well, you do that. Maintaining your house is important.
We anticipate your return.
I probably won't return, actually.
Well, your participation thus far has been greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. You got Naoya being an asshole, which is kind of what he's here to do. After Mahito's gone, we immediately need a new hate sponge. So he's talking about how his brothers suck. Choso says, maybe it's because of them that you are who you are. Whether they're superior or inferior, older brothers are role models for their younger brothers. An older brother who takes the wrong path shows their younger brothers to avoid it. And if I take the right path, my little brothers can follow behind. What if the reason you're strong is that your older brothers are weak? You asked why I'm tough. I'll tell you. It's because I didn't have someone to guide me, so I had to make all my own mistakes. Nonetheless, I must walk ahead of my little brothers. That's why I'm strong. Never, ever has a character just jumped up so far in my personal rankings. Just... he's so good. What a great guy that Choso. Anyway, for that reason primarily, I think I would put this fight lower in the A tier.
Fair.
Yeah, this for me had more emotional impact than the two Sukuna fights from Shibuya, so I'll put it above those ones.
You know,
I'm probably
I
gonna
do
use
like
that
how
too.
now you
This
use
Later
guy
play
I
for you.
have this projection sorcery.
See ya.
Tata, please spoiler mark that fucking tier list. God damn it.
Oh no.
Hate to see
Yeah,
it.
just ping him and say spoiler tag it. So then we get Yuji versus Yuta, which is not very much of a fight. It's Yuji running away from Yuta, and there being some good choreography. I'd put it somewhere in B tier. Somewhere.
Hey, Thomas, we're talking about JJK.
Thomas, have you read all of JJK?
No, he has. No,
Oh,
he's
he has?
not. He hasn't continued it.
How much
Look, you can make shit up.
can you? You gonna make shit up, Thomas?
Oh, you want me to start making shit up? I can make shit up. You know
Oh,
that
there's
one
an
time
echo.
JJK fought KKJ?
Yeah, it's chill echoing again.
Oh, it's because I think probably if he just lowers Thomas's volume.
Ow. One time JJK fought KKJ was very peak.
What? How much of JJK have you consumed, Thomas?
I know the panda vaults over a building in the intro.
Yeah.
It's kinda
Oh wait, I forgot.
peak. Yeah, I don't consume media.
Thomas, I don't know how much you can participate in this. This one's a bit of a discussion.
I'll listen in. I don't mind.
Look, he's sitting in the corner playing Unsighted.
Well,
No, I'm not. I'm looking at the
Listen.
design of Incited and doing work.
listen. Here's
Ah.
here's a piece of advice. If you're gonna just listen in, just listen through the stream so I get your view. And leave a like on it.
We'll have it open and a window muted, you know?
You have it open and a window muted.
That's what I always do.
Of course. Of course. Much
Problem
appreciated as
solved, I got
always.
this volume.
So now we get to Perfect Preparation, the most controversial arc in human history, apparently, despite being 4 chapters. Maybe it's because it's 4 chapters that it's so controversial. But
Oh,
it's
which fight on about now?
it's the Maki arc,
Ah,
where it's
the
time
Zen
for
Massacre.
Maki to fucking kill everybody.
Yeah.
So we start that off with her fighting her dad, Ogi. It's not too much. It's just a short little scuffle, but it's a quick draw fight, and I like quick draw. It's also good for emotional stuff, just establishing like what a horrible piece of shit that man is. I'll also include when she cuts his fucking head in half after she gets her power up, because it's really funny. I'd put it like high C tier. Then we get Maki fighting all the Zenin clan people for a chapter, which is
Yeah,
it's just
the
it's a
massacre.
Kill Bill reference. It's a Kill Bill reference.
Of course.
I would
You
put
love
that
Kill Bill
one probably also in C tier. Put it a little above that in C tier. And then we have her fight with Naoya, which is another short one because Maki's stronger than him at this state, like notably. It has good art. It has it's mostly just a lot of cool art and cool shit happening because projection sorcery is really goddamn cool, and so many Sakuga cubes. I don't know if I've ever read a manga in which I see fucking Sakuga cubes show up, and which I just go, oh, he's giving the animators blueprints for 3 years from now.
Yeah.
Just a neat little short fight. I'd put it like low B tier.
Now your flashback is also pretty cool.
Oh yeah, you get to see Gege's pretty little princess appear.
Yeah.
You gotta, he
like-
must appear. Anytime he can appear, he must appear.
It's like, I'm pretty sure what happened, right? After getting rid of Nobara, Gay was like, Maki, I don't feel like making women, so I'm just gonna pour all of the women into you. And that's why you had to go later.
I'm not gonna complain, because she's kind of the best one by a lot.
Yeah.
I love Maki, and her new post-Shibuya design. Though I do think she looked better with the glasses. I can't lie. I know she doesn't need them, but I think she looks better with them. The round ones,
They
you know.
do
I like
indeed
the
look a
round
lot better.
glasses.
Give the cape back.
Now, a month and a half long break happens. I almost die of deprivation in that time period.
Yeah.
And then when
That's when most of my investment left.
shame how a big long hiatus during setup for the next arc will do that.
Again, why reading media releases ain't the best.
Yeah. Unfortunate. And then naturally, the chapter, when it came back, I was not only on vacation and wouldn't have an opportunity to react to the chapter when it came out, so I had to read text leaks and then make a video talking about them. I was also kind of sick, so my voice sounds like absolute fucking shit in that video. I think that's the worst I've ever sounded in any video I've made. We go to the Fight Club reference place, where we meet the only other canonical couple in the series. And where we learn about how based Hakari is.
He's so real.
He's a real man. We start off with Megumi and Panda fighting Kirara. It's okay. It's not really that much of an interesting fight. It's just kind of learning about Kirara's wacky hacks ability, which is just sort of, what if we had a great value version of Limitless that was also a fucking puzzle? It's a neat power. I put it in C tier somewhere.
That technique has to be one of the most confusing to
Not
understand.
really, it's just she
besides
places
Pachinko.
certain marks, and in order to move closer to her, you have to travel between those points. It's just basically, she puts you on a set path that you have to follow, but you have to know what the path is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we get to the Yuji
What
and
you
Hakari.
think ahead?
Yeah. Then we get to the Yuji and Hakari fight, which isn't that long. It's just kind of a short little scuffle between the two, but it has more good Yuji character stuff. So I'd put it like I'll put it like top of C, because I had a really good Yuji moment at the end of it. Now we get to the fight arc.
The best Yuji moment as well, right there. Look at that.
My favorite post Shibuya moment for Yuji. So, Yuji versus Higuruma. I'm glad they didn't even include the fucking hair people on this list, because the other tier list included them, and I'm like, why? Why bother? They also had fucking they had Kakaba fighting the exploding body parts guy as one. I'm like, that they show that for like a third of a chapter.
Yeah.
Why is it on here?
And that fight's more like part of the Megami Reggie fight.
Yeah,
thing.
so I'll take that into consideration. Now, the Higuruma fight is a fight I like primarily for narrative reasons. I think the narrative stuff in it is really good.
Yeah, that's why it's one of the best.
I don't think I put it up in S tier, but
I would agree.
Tell me about the Higuruma fight, because what's your opinion of this fight?
Higuruma fight it's like my second favorite fight in the series.
What's your favorite fight in the series over this one?
We haven't gotten to it yet.
I see.
Oh yeah, meet my face and theme song.
Give me some of your in-depth thoughts about this fight.
I just genuinely think the way the power is set up leads to such a good reveal of it. Usually be like, even though I am technically not liable for this, the guilt I feel is so fucking insane. And also, he just has an instant kill weapon, but it's like very conditional.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really interesting for a fighting weapon. It's like, oh yeah, this is like, you have to get sentenced by my power that I don't control. But I also have to hit you with an instant kill weapon after.
Right. No, that's fair. Those are fair reasons. Me personally, also, all the Higuruma shit, very easily put him up in my top 5, like so quickly. Like, Choso was already an introduced character, so then it was suddenly making him really good. Higuruma just got introduced and was immediately like, wow, this is one of the best characters in the series. Holy fuck.
This is a really interesting character.
How did this happen? Now then, I'll put this fight somewhere high in A tier. I'll put it top A tier. I'll put it above everything else thus far.
Yeah.
Now we get to the Megumi and Reggie fight, which is a really neat fight. I know some people don't really care for it. Some didn't like it when it was coming out. But it's just such a nifty little fight. Reggie's power is just so quirky. It's just such an interesting little ability. and has a lot of interesting
Yeah.
applications. And you really have to
Most
wonder.
underrated fight, my
It's
opinion.
so interesting.
You have to
Yeah, I
wonder.
remember. His like little receipt power was being explained around the same time that NFTs are pertinent. So we're all saying like, oh yeah, his maximum technique's gonna be making things an NFT. He'll just claim ownership of the receipts for them.
I think it's funny to have a power that you can literally get tax bracketed out of.
Oh my god. It's just so
A
funny to
poor person
imagine
can't
him.
use that power.
So funny to imagine him scrounging through trash cans at fucking grocery stores and shit. Because people throw their receipts
Reggie,
out.
my go.
Not everyone
Go.
keeps their receipts to then mark things down in their checkbook. People throw their fucking receipts out. I throw my receipts out.
Yeah.
I just imagine this man fucking scrounging through trash cans. Oh, what do we have here? Ooh. It's a receipt for a spa day. Oh, this is excellent. I have to wonder
my healing
what the
technique.
what the full application for his abilities are. Would he be able to use like?
You gotta summon a house.
He summoned a whole the deed to a house. He summoned a whole fucking
I'm
house.
surprised
I have to
Reggie
wonder
truck too.
for a gun.
if he had the deed for a plot of land. Would the whole chunk of land just materialize in the air?
It replaces his domain expansion.
There you go. There you go. Speaking of domain expansions, you have Megumi pulling out Chimera Shadow Garden again, which is always neat. And it's always
Yeah.
cool when he does that. So,
And
whenever...
because of the elite cult we usually get.
Oh, it looks so
um,
shit initially. I'm glad they used the
Yeah,
official
we
one
didn't
here.
even get to see thing in the background. I'm like, what's
I
that back
could
there?
kind
think
of
there might be
barely
something
see
here.
it. I remember reacting to that
Yeah.
chapter. That was an interest. I think it was a chapter that came out on a fucking Monday because it was a break week or something.
I
So the
think
time
so.
it was one of the ones around here that it
Yeah,
came
because I
out
have to
on a
wait longer
Monday.
than usual to get the actual clear image. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember seeing it. I'm just like, there's something back there. I can't really tell what it is, but it's there. It is just really cool. And then you just the whole fight from there on out. It's just who's doing better big brain stuff, and that's usually when Jujutsu fights are really good, when a lot of strategy is involved. So this fight for me also goes somewhere in A tier. Big fan. I would put it. I would put it. Sure, I'd put it on the lower end just because it doesn't have a lot of emotional impact for me.
Yeah.
I'd put it above
But I
the
think Reggie's
Choso and
power
Memory.
is
if I-
so
Interesting
interesting,
part
yeah.
was just Reggie talking about
Yeah.
Kenjaku for a bit.
Oh yeah, and he did talk about Kenjaku. It's funny to imagine him pulling out a receipt. You know where I was scrounging around in the trash recently? Outside of a gun store.
Yeah, Reggie is an absolute fucking menace on social media, by the way. The man always has the
It's-
receipts.
Reggie wearing his receipts looks.
Oh
so
my god, he
tough.
summoned a fucking
yeah.
scooter and then just started riding around on it. It was so silly. It's such a silly
it's
fight.
great. I love him.
His power's so
He's so
fucking
stupid, but he's like one of the best.
I love
Oh.
dumb powers like that. They're so good.
Reggie.
It's the
also
wizard who
way he
wears
dies
spell
and he
scrolls.
curses Megami.
This is a power that a goblin would have. Reggie's a goblin in human form.
Yeah.
The way Reggie curses Megami at the end is also really fun.
Boy, did
So-
that end up being true.
Dire fool.
Boy, did it. Anywho, now we get to Sendai, the big stupid hype bullshit stretch of Culling Game. This was the part. This was the stretch of Culling Game where every week I fucking rub my hands together and I'm like, ooh boy. Because you know what I love? I love when really strong characters fight each other. That's why I love Toriko for a variety of... among various reasons. That's why I love Toriko. I love when high-tier characters fight each other because it usually gets to show kind of the limits of what's possible in the power system, which is,
Yeah, and
part of why the current fight's really
speaking
good.
of Troka, at the food character there.
The food
um,
character. Ishigori Ryu. When does Volume 20's English release come out? I need to have a look-see here. Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 20. It was more a rhetorical question. I was just kind of wondering aloud as I Google it on the spot. It's it's out now. Oh, it just came out like a little over a week ago. Oh, that's perfect. Well,
Oh,
I know I'm gonna be making a trip
Some-
sometime soon.
Someone's making a trip to Barrington Noble.
Yes, sir. You know it.
oh
You
Volume
know it.
20 is going to include the death of Reggie as well.
Oh, what do you know? It volume 20. I don't think that'll cover the entirety of Sendai, will it? I think that one's gonna carry over into 21.
Definitely not. It will only carry like the end of Reggie's fight and maybe the beginning of the Sendai Battle Royale.
I see. Ah, well. Well, you know me. I'm collecting them all. I can't skip volumes. Why would I? It's not like it's Sakamoto Days or something where I don't care as much about the stuff that happens in it prior to the fucking Baki arc. Where they just do, what if we did the Death Row arc, but it was in Sakamoto Days with silly Sakamoto Days shit. And I go, that's so peak. That's great. Yuta versus Kuroruchi. Very funny fight. Because it's just like, oh, this thing's dangerous. Its power is fucking disgusting. It's gross. It's fucked up. It's a special grade curse.
It's a fucking cockroach.
Oh yeah, it's also our first showing of what the Sendai is our showing of what Yuta can do post Volume 0 when he's not just fighting Yuji, who's way weaker than him, obviously. What does he do against a special grade curse? Which doesn't mean very much because there's a lot of those with a wide berth of power between them. I mean, I'd say Kuroruchi's like, you know, they're below the other disaster spirits, but they're pretty strong. He just fucking whips this thing. He's beating the shit out of it. Some of the choreography is really funny. Like where Kuroruchi just starts running away, so he's fucking chasing after it. He fucking rips off like a railing on a bridge to throw at him. And then of course it ends in the ultimate funny. The ultimate funny. Where we're like, you know Yuta, he's such a fucking womanizer, according to Geto. Give him the combat kiss.
Yeah.
What a fucking silly thing to do. It's also good characterization for Yuta that he's just he'll do the yucky shit. He'll just do whatever, man. He's a serious individual. So this fight,
I love you,
I
cockroach.
put this somewhere B tier, low B tier. Entertaining, I like it. Then we get to the rest of Sendai. This is a tough one for me. This is a tough one.
No, this is
fucking, because we get the two ends of the spectrum. We get a really interesting kind of hacks power. Ooh, I can bend space, but I can't hurt people with it directly, so I can use it to deflect your attacks and just throw you off. And then we have,
So cool.
I shoot big fucking lasers out of my hair. Out of my fedora can. Or not my fedora, oh no. My pompadour can. Just wait till we have someone with a fucking fedora. Just you wait. The pompadour cannon. And, you know, he wears a fucking Crollo jacket. And he talks like a Toriko character, which conveniently also has a really strong guy with a pompadour.
Yeah, several strong guys with pompadours.
Several strong guys with pompadours. So you have Yuta, who's really strong, fighting two pretty strong characters throughout a whole city. So there's a lot of big destruction that happens. There's a lot of cool hype powers. You got Rika being summoned. You finally get the explanation for what the deal is with new Rika. You get to see Yuta just pulling out and comboing a bunch of abilities. You've got Ryu just being a goddamn hype machine. More Uro being cool, and Gege developing the ability to draw hot women. He's overcome his fear. He really went, it's just like, I don't like drawing scantily clad women. I don't like trying to draw characters all sexy because my parents read the manga, and it'd be really weird. It'd be really awkward for me. And then just this art came along, and he just went, what if I drew a lady who's just fucking naked? And only sometimes do I bother having her power cover her up. Sometimes it's just like, we're just not going to draw the details.
She's just using light Equiplo, don't worry.
Light Equiplo, she's doing the
she
0%
wants more maneuverability.
Exactly. And it's great. And then we get the biggest blue balling of all fucking time. That, I think, we thought the memory thing was Gege doing a little bit of trolling. Then we have him do, what if there was 3 domain expansions at the same time? Like, new domain expansions. We finally get to see what Yuta's is. Confirmation
domain you really want to see.
The one you really want to see, and one that we're never going to fucking see now. And then just, what if the cockroach was a cockroach? And by that I mean it was really fucking hard to kill. They just interrupt, and our domains explode. And I'm like, God damn you, Gege. I wanted to see those so bad. but it's fine because then we get a double page spread of all 4 of them standing off and falling down through the air looking at each other. And I'm like, I love standoff shots so much.
Ryu popping a cigarette while he falls.
Yeah, he fucking lights a new cigarette while they're falling out of the dummy. What a cool I miss him so much. I miss him so much. I know we have to reduce the character bloat, but why did it have to be him? Well, I know why it had to be him, because he was one of the guys that got introduced in Sendai, and people were saying delusional things like, oh, he's stronger than Geto. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's stronger than Jogo. What are you talking about? People are out of your minds.
I mean, seeing him versus Jogo would be like visually cinema.
It would be
so
great.
good.
They're the 2 big destructive power people. But he loses because he can't. I don't think Ryu can dodge a meteor. Maybe he'd try to tank it. He'd try to fast tank it with Grenade Blast. Oh my god.
Laser beam it.
I need to talk about how Grenade Blast is one of the biggest examples of Viz being shit. Because it's not Granite Blast. It's Granite. It needs to have the little thing there. Because it's not like he's referencing rock. He's referencing the Italian dessert. Because he's the man that just wants to have some fucking dessert.
Because he's the food guy.
John Wary, we're gonna put you in a wood chipper.
I fucking hate that man. His Demon Slayer translations are so shit. If you're ever able to fucking read the colored version of Dimensional Infinity Fortress, because it uses the fan translation, that's just good. It's just a good translation. As opposed to whatever sort of fucking slop John Wary gets paid to put out. Yeah, Jobber, you're smoking crack if you think he's stronger than Geto. Anyone with a domain clears Geto pretty much. Okay, here's the problem. Is that Geto had his big fight during a point in the series where Gege had not come up with domain expansions yet. You know? I don't think it was a thing he thought of.
And anyway, Geto can just summon curses who can use their own domains.
Yeah,
like
he can do that.
Bitch who says, "Am I pretty?"
Yeah. And then, you know, Kurorushi gets killed again after biting off Uro's arm, and then Uro gets knocked out by Ryu, and then it's just a fucking beam clash between the 2 of them that makes Yuta enjoy fighting for once.
Yeah.
And then Ryu finally gets satisfied. This, for me, I think this is an S tier fight.
I think that's fair.
Would I put this above the Hanami fight, though? Oh, that's a tough one. This is what I mean in terms of, like, it's tough for me to judge the new fights. Because there are fights that I binged, and then there are these fights that I fucking read week to week. It's difficult to say. I intend to do a reread again. I'm just contemplating whether or not I want to wait until the series is just over. Because it's relatively soon.
I mean, you're still making content in this series. And, like, you're gonna have a lot less of that to make after it's finished. So, better before that than after, I'd say.
True. You know, that's fair. That's fair.
Ooh.
Yeah, JJK, Gege, please wait to end your series till I get, like, a job of some kind that pays me a decent amount of money, so I'm not super fucking worried about it. You know what? I will put this over the Hanami fight. Because it just has the big stupid hype shit of the Hanami fight, but, like, even more.
It's just got more going for it.
Now we get to another... Oh, wait. Before we get to that, we technically have 3 fights. We get Hakari warms up fighting a French weeaboo.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious in concept.
The intro of one of the most unique...
Oh, is Griever here in chat?
Yep.
Griever! Wish I could stay and watch. Oh, wait. Throughout Heaven and Earth, this like alone is the honored one. Thank you very much. Wish I could stay and watch. Have to check out the VOD later. Bill Burr show tonight. Good luck with the rest of the stream, mate. Thank you very much. Best of luck to you. Mark says seeing top tier characters actually fight's always great. That's why we DB fans desperately want to see Beerus fight someone that gives him a challenge. Chulp, you are a Dragon Ball fan.
Yeah.
Can you confirm this?
Yeah.
Now we get that. We have Hakari warms up. We learn about Hakari's ability, and also Charles is like a funny little C-tier guy with a neat ability that he'll probably be a bit stronger once he gets good.
Yeah.
It's an interesting
Like, yeah, like
concept.
Yeah,
Pen polearm. That's so stylish. Use it.
it's really cool.
It is really stylish. And also, I like the ability of just, I'm able to do more future sight against you the more times I hit you. The more times I hit you, the further ahead I'm able to see. It's like a learning how your opponents fight thing got turned into an ability.
Yeah, he was given a crutch.
Yeah.
Like
And
a
then,
fight against
Hikari wins. And then we get this
That would
really
never
good
be-
spread of him kicking through Charles's polearm. With all the fucking pachinko imagery in the background. I put this fight
Yeah.
like a high C tier
I agree.
for Charles. And then we get...
Hikari saying, "I would never read your
the
manga."
panda fight, the D tier. The thing
I
that
was
made me actually
just
drop
about
GGT.
to say the panda fight. Where it's like, Panda's like he's an average strength character. He encounters Kashimo. He gets fucking annihilated.
Dog walk.
Gets dog walk. This is also a D tier, obviously, because it's not even
Yeah.
really a
Yeah.
fight. Nothing happens.
And it wastes one of the hypest parts about Panda.
What a shame. Gege, the
Rest
son of
in
a
peace,
bitch.
Triceratops.
Gege does this thing, which I kind of respect. It's also really shitty. Which theoretically, characters have a degree of plot armor that protects them until they use an ability that hasn't been revealed yet.
Mm.
So usually domain expansions, where it's like, this person can't die until they show their domain, and Gege goes, why not? Why
Oh,
not? You
fuck
think they have plot armor? But at the same time, it results in us not getting the satisfaction of seeing various things. And we're left going, damn, that sucks. However, it is really funny to just see Kashimo dog on Panda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the part where Panda just pretends to be a natural panda.
That was really funny. Like, I want you to
Yeah.
imagine, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. When you're just you're an average strength character walking around on a mission, and you just walk around a corner and you encounter this S tier character. It's like, oh no. Fuck, what do I do? Act natural. And by that I mean act like a normal panda.
Yeah.
And then he pulls out Kogane and just rushes him straight
He's just
after
like,
figuring
is that a
out it's
player? Yes. Well, looks like I'm gonna go killing again.
I
Yeah.
do like the panda flashback of all of his siblings leaving him.
That was a good character
Yeah.
moment. It was
Yeah.
nice. And then you got the man appears, and that's where we get to the actual fight for Tokyo Colony number 2, which is
Yeah.
unkillable man fights guy with super lethal ability.
No, this is like
Yeah.
one of my favorite fights in this.
You got
This, goddamn immovable
got-
object meets an unstoppable force.
that's a good way
Yeah.
to describe it. Kashimo, super fast, super powerful. The man has the attack potency, where he just like goes, due to the properties of electricity, I can just have guaranteed hit against you without doing a domain. It's just how my fucking powers work. And I can blow your fucking limbs off using it from a distance. And I'm lightning fast, bitch. And Hikari just has plot luck.
Just so fucking lucky.
He's just so lucky. That luck's gonna run out at some point in the
It's
future.
just
And it's gonna be
a
really
Fun
bad.
fight to read.
Where it's just a
Like-
man who just keeps winning jackpots, and fucking
Yeah.
theme music plays for him throughout the entirety of the fight. And
And
they just
then he could run off the jackpot to win the fight. He doesn't have to gamble again. But we just love gambling.
we just love gambling.
We just love gambling.
And Kashima's just, oh yeah, so I just have to wait for your power to wear off. Why the fuck would I do that? I'm just gonna kill you anyway.
Not by child.
I bet his Discord just restart. Oh wait, chilled?
I should, yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Thought you said chulp for a second.
Yeah.
My mistake.
No, you speaking.
The man, it's true. I
no.
thought it was chilled for a second, and then I thought it was chilled for a second, and then you started talking, and I went, wait a second. That's not right. That's inaccurate. So you got all that stupid shit, and then they just do big stupid hype shit. They're just chasing each other around, punching each other.
Yeah.
You got fucking
yeah.
oh,
Okay, fine.
fine.
What trade?
Here you go, fine. Here's a thing for you to do on this weekend
Yeah.
day. Participate in the stream a little bit.
tragically, we stopped talking about Jogo is not being talked about.
We got past
this
Jogo, I'm
Yeah.
afraid. We're already on to the Kashima fight.
Yeah.
If you're speaking, I cannot hear you. Wait.
I heard something. Yep.
I can kind of hear you a bit.
Yeah.
There we go.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. How are you?
Fine, I guess.
You are. I would
Uh,
hope so.
But less so than usual because, you know,
Fair.
Yeah.
All right.
still no D&D.
No D. Listen.
D.
You know, actually, no.
I-
I can't run next weekend because I don't know what I'm gonna be doing next weekend. I could. It's possible I'll be moving next weekend. I don't fucking know yet. I don't know if I have a dorm yet, so I have no idea what I'm doing next weekend. So
I'm putting all the guild that play freeze and running on Saturday on TSR.
I see.
Fuck TSR.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So true. I'm not part of TSR. I get left out of it. I'm definitely not gonna have a guest character in that at any point. Anyway, we love it. They do stupid bullshit in this fight, like punch a shipping container at each other, but just keep getting closer as they keep fucking pushing it towards each other to the point where they're just flattening it with their fists.
Yeah, it was like more stupid JoJo Part 5.
And also, Hakari becoming so powerful that his body is using techniques he doesn't know how to use.
Yeah, it's just by reflex, by instinct. Your body's just doing this incredibly advanced technique.
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, what to do with all this cursed energy? I don't know, let's just do shit.
Simply overflowing with power. Just fucking yuckers cracked. For me, the ending of this fight's a little bit of a weak point, just because we're not doing as much of the hype shit anymore, and it's just kind of like, how do we beat each other? How do we stop fighting each other? Wear out either fucking poison the man, or just disperse all of his cursed energy. But that still gets it put in S tier somewhere.
Yeah.
Where would I put it in S tier? What? Would I put it above the Mechamaru fight? I suppose. Would I put it above the Hanami fight?
Probably not.
I'm not sure. I don't think it made me rowdy quite like the Hanami fight did. But I like it a lot.
Well, at the same time, I have to remember, like, binge versus, you know,
It is
actual...
binge versus... Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
I
like the ending of the Hanami fight more than the ending of the Tachima fight. So we'll leave it above there. Now then, the most controversial part of the Culling Game. The Maki part, naturally.
I remember liking it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Like, it wasn't... Well, I can't really say much, because it's past the part where I actually care to read chapters when they drops.
Fair.
Like, the Panda part did it for me. I was like, yeah. So I'm not saying that, you know, each time you bring up a new fight, I think I'll be taking my leave now. See you whenever you hold on a different BC later.
Later.
Take care. Have fun. Bye.
I will. So,
Alright.
Sakurajima is kind of a curious case, because its beginning was kind of weak. Maybe it was just kind of the pacing of the chapters. I do believe there was a bit of break in between some of the early parts, so just the pacing of it was not great. And it's just, we're having Maki fight now again, and also Kamo's here, and Kamo's not the most interesting person in the world.
No, he's...
But
I liked what he did with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just as, you know, big of a deal.
Right. Now, I do like what they did with Kamo in this fight. He had good character moments. Bringing Naoya back can only be so interesting. A lot of us kind of expected it would happen due to his manner of death.
Yeah, it was big meme for like half a year or something.
It was
like
more than
actually
half a year.
yeah.
It was like a year of us going, can't wait till
Yeah, it was a year. It was a year. Where we just memed it, like, oh, he's gonna come back as a reverse.
And then
as
Neo
a
kills
because he got killed with a knife.
Yeah. So it starts off kind of weak. Then we get the good Kamo stuff. And then Mio and Daido show up. And, you know, we love stupid people that love fighting. Their introduction was very funny. And we just see them do kind of wacky shit. And then they just out of nowhere become a vessel for very good Maki character development. The fight from this point on is quite good. Because you just have Naoya fucking zipping around the city and everyone trying to attack him, avoid getting fucking run over. And then you have Maki doing really good character development. And then, you know, you have big stupid hype bullshit of Maki just being as strong as Toji now and styling on Naoya again. And then we get Naoya's domain expansion, which is one of my favorites in terms of its ability. Temporal Womb Moon Palace, as the TCB translation puts it. I prefer that one because Viz and January will always fucking shy away from grosser stuff, like having a womb in the name of the thing. Though they will call fucking Kenjaku's domain expansion... I can't remember the full name of it. It's some Buddhist thing. They just call it womb profusion, and I go, fuck you. That's so boring. Again, I love projection sorcery. Doing projection sorcery on a cellular level is so absurd. It's just, oh, do you want to move around to do anti-domain techniques or cast your own domain? Good fucking luck. Your body is being ripped apart on a cellular level as you move. Because some of your cells will move the same way mine do. Some of them are not going to. That's fucked. That's so gross. I will put this fight somewhere in A tier. Yeah, the A tier. Yeah. A tier. Where in A tier? I'm not sure. I'll put it... put it above the group fight against Hanami for now.
That's fair.
Let's see, what does the chat have to say about my very controversial take of liking Sakurajima? Yeah, Ra's Night this arc was so fucking silly. Just Toji appears behind Maki and the most intelligent people on the face of the earth go, oh my god, I can't believe Toji's back again. Just like how, oh, we have a metaphorical background thing. They've gone to Norway through the warping of space. These people.
What?
Jobber said projection sorcery was really underused in this fight. Now you're doing more crazy shit like freezing the air would have been good. That's true. I wish he did a little bit more of it. Because the whole freezing the air and then punching it to create fucking shockwaves is such a cool application of the power. Because if you're breaking the air through speed...
He technically does like an advanced version of projection sorcery with its domain expansion, right?
Yeah, he does do that. But I mean more so like during the rest of the fight. Because the man reached like Mach 3 without using it. I came up with an idea for the way the fight would end, is that he goes Mach 3 and then he uses projection sorcery. And goes like fucking starts hitting like relativistic speeds or some bullshit. Maki just simply places her sword in front of herself.
No, this fight also kind of because like power scale is just completely changed it. It changed everything for the power scale against like other series apparently because it says Mach 3.
Yeah,
which,
apparently.
For like most manga is pretty slow.
True. It also raised the question of, like, so she couldn't react to Mach 3 with her power-up, but before she got her power-up, she could catch a fucking bullet shot by Mai at close range. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it too much. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
He doesn't know how speeds work. It's fine.
Nayo could smell all kinds of things with his giant nose. I remember the giant nose. That was funny. The big schnoz. The big sniffer. Now then. We get to what I consider to be the end of Culling Game.
So funny.
Yeah, the big nose. I consider this fight to be the end of the Culling Game. Because, I mean, technically, it takes place. Kenjaku shows up and goes, yeah, I don't need the Culling Game anymore.
Hey,
Who joins us? It's Tater back again. Tater, welcome back. It seems like you've exceeded your expectations.
couple minutes.
Well, we'll appreciate those couple minutes.
Look at this. We're on Choso and Yuji versus
This one,
fucking Kenjaku.
first one is just Choso versus Kenjaku.
Oh,
they have this
okay.
one separate for some reason.
The
Okay, fair.
the part where Choso is like, what is it? What are they called? The death paint
Yeah, he
thing.
uses his brother's powers. He calls upon his brother's powers and pushes Kenjaku enough to make him use his other technique.
The banger.
You know, Kenjaku's one of those characters where, you know, he's always confident about what's going to happen. He's planned everything ahead, so he knows what's going to happen, so he never loses his cool. It's always great when characters like that have their hand forced and they just go,
shit.
I really didn't want to do that. You fucked things up a little bit, you little bastard. It's just more Choso being peak, you know? It's just more Choso being fucking phenomenal by just fighting someone way stronger than him.
I think that's a solid A tier fight.
I agree.
But then...
let's see,
part
where
two.
would I put it in A tier?
And then we have the character that just appears.
Character that just appears. So then we have Yuki and Choso versus Kenjaku. This fight
I love this fight.
has such big, stupid shit in it. Just Yuki. Yuki's another hype machine. Where it's just, oh, what's my power? Mass.
Yeah.
General term, mass. Imaginary mass.
Imaginary mass. I can... Let me soccer ball kick my thing to fucking destroy Ganesha.
Dude, I saw a video on like how strong that curse spirit is.
Uh-huh.
And they basically equivalent it to, or basically, Kenjaku thinks that is a good enough opener on someone he knows basically almost nothing about.
I mean, it's a fucked ability. It's just, what's this thing's ability? Oh, it gets rid of obstacles. Well, that's really vague. That the fucking Ganesha's, I believe that's what he said. It's just, oh, it removes
so
obstacles.
It removes obstacles.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that means. Which I guess means just, if you're an obstacle to me, you just get put somewhere else, such as 200 feet up in the air. And she just went, oh, okay, watch this. Does a big soccer ball kick and one-shots it. And thus you get another instance of Kenjaku going, what?
What?
Huh? My power is mass. Punches through your fucking arms. Hits you so hard that you break through a fucking infinite barrier. You break through space because of how hard I hit you. I remember reading the TCB explanation for what those words meant. It was mind-boggling. This is one of the rare instances of real Toriko bullshit. My ability is so strong that I can punch through conceptual abilities and warped reality. I can just punch that hard. Yuki really does have a peak ability in the sense that she has a power in a setting where a lot of people have convoluted abilities, and her power is just, I punch so good that I ignore convoluted abilities.
Yeah.
So that was really hype. And then you have Kenjaku bringing out their domain for the first time, which was a big oh shit moment.
What is it? All-encompassing Gaparatu.
Yeah, I think it's all-encompassing Garparatu, which is supposed to be one of like Buddha's realms of enlightenment. I think it's where Buddha teaches people to become enlightened. So you know, that happens. Yuki gets fucked up a bit, and then Choso shows up again, and then they just continue kind of dogging on Kenjaku. And then bad shit happens, because Kenjaku has really high battle IQ. And then Choso lives somehow, because he was the one everyone thought was going to die in that fight. Everybody thought Choso was fucked, because he was the weakest one there. Nope. Yuki got fucking cut in half. And it's like, well, the death of one of the 4 special grades in this character we introduced like 150 chapters ago is honestly kind of underwhelming. However, what if I turned myself into a black hole?
Yeah, because that's what Matt can do.
It's just, oh yeah, it doesn't affect weight or density till a certain point. But what if I go beyond that point?
What if we found a certain point and went past it?
And another domain expansion we never get to see. I hope Gege explains it in a fucking data book or something. They did the same for Hanami. This fight is really good, though I do think it has a few issues, mostly in regards to just Yuki character stuff. Just, I don't think...
I think it's like A.
I would put it very high A tier. I'll put it actually top of A tier for me. It's really good, but it just got a few of those things where it's just like, this isn't just something that could have been done better. I feel like this is something that's a genuine problem. I don't know what the rest of you guys think.
I also, honestly, I think the type is at the bottom of S for me personally.
This fight, I contemplate.
I when Yuki just gets up after like being fucking flattened.
Oh yeah.
That was.
And also,
would I put it up in the? Nah, you know what? The Yuki hype stuff is just so insane. I'll put it.
Also,
I'll put it
the part where Choso comes back and it's like, "Oh, you're an amazing big brother."
I love a rugged man.
Oh, and then also it's parent killing time.
I really,
Yes,
I swear to God, I swear.
What fight are we on now, gentlemen?
We're finishing up the Yuki and Kenjaku fight. I'm just debating if I want to put it top of A or low S.
Top of A.
Oh, and then we get what is it? We can put the Choso and Kenjaku fight up even higher because of his translation stupid fuck up. Where
Gojo and Geto are both
Gojo
able to use curse spirit manipulation. Yeah. Good job, John Wary. One of the few instances in recent memory of his going back and changing the translation after the chapter comes out.
Yeah.
The only other one being,
W.
I don't understand references to the series I'm translating. I don't understand in-series references to earlier parts of the series. I don't even read this. They send me text and I translate it. I don't even know if he looks at the images. They probably just send him the fucking words and he throws them through Google Translate. And then he goes, I should make this sound grammatically correct. That's the extent of his worth as a translator. He makes it grammatically correct.
We should beat his head in with hammers.
Nah, don't threaten to kill people on my live stream.
Yeah.
In Minecraft.
Keep that to yourself. But yeah, parent killing time. I swear to God, I thought that was just TCB being a little goofy, being a little silly, and then the Viz release comes out and it's basically the same thing.
It's time to commit patricide.
Time to commit patricide. I'm like, Choso, why would you say that? Why would you say that? Like, why?
You Choso. It's a pretty banger line, but it's a little out of character.
It is a little. That's weird. But it's a bit out of character. It's so strange.
You know, it's what familiar anger does to a motherfucker.
I gotta say, Tater, you're bringing some wonderful ambiance to the call.
Yeah, no, I was driving.
I get it. I figured as much. It kind of sounds like you're driving. We have experience with Chulp joining calls while he's driving. The audio quality is very similar.
Alright, I will be leaving the call now, unfortunately. I got my... I'll see if I can join.
No problem. We'll see if I feel like doing a really protracted discussion on Gojo versus Sukuna at this point. I might remove
just know that my opinion on that, if I don't get there, it's a really good fight so far.
So true.
People complaining that there aren't enough techniques are dumb.
Yeah, Dio. Anyway.
It's only like a CQC. You know, the series that is like really good with CQC stuff.
Yeah, you know, I wonder if there's a reasonable explanation as for why they're doing that. Anyway, so yeah, that was the
probably had enough for now.
See ya.
Do what they can.
Yeah. Yeah, fine. Oh wow.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay. You're echoing a lot in Chilled's mic. Chilled.
Ah, shit, I'll lower him.
No worries. Yeah, I'll put that fight bottom S. It's still very good. Yeah, it had a lot of shit in it that I just thought was like wacky hype stuff. Now then, we get to It's Over. It's so over. It's never been this over before.
It's so good.
The most, I tell you, the
Bye,
most
John.
insane chapter I've ever read doing week to week with this. It's just,
Yeah,
oh,
this is like insane. Like after like 200 chapters.
it's just like, oh, it's not even just that. It's just, oh, the game has changed now. We just changed the fucking standard. We've changed.
Yeah,
the
entire thing that the series was based on.
It's gone now. I'm like,
It's done.
oh. Now, this fight is not really much of a fight. It's Sukuna shows up. He does big flexing shit. And then Hana shows up and nukes him from orbit.
And then we get a Dragon Ball reference.
And then he does a silly thing.
Dragon Ball reference? Yeah, the nuking him from fucking orbit is a big old Dragon Ball reference.
Nukes him from orbit, but
Jacob
then
Ladder?
because Hana is a very easy to manipulate teenage girl. Oh,
Jacob's ladder. goes
Uli
hard.
Cooley sent me a $2 donation. It's parent killing time. Thank you, Cooley. That what a great super chat. Oh yeah, I guess this is a reminder to any other STU watching this. If you feel ever so generous for some reason, you can always send a super chat. There's also the channel membership where you get access to silly little funny emotes that are exclusive to members, such as this funny one that all the Kengan fans in the chat are gonna love. Anywho. Yeah, Choso got me in the feels at the end.
Yeah.
Choso just always has peak character moments. He's so
I love
good
that Choso
emotionally.
replicated winking.
So, Sukuna versus Angel, I'd put that somewhere in like low C.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Had big hype shit, but it was really short and sudden.
How is Jacob Ladder Dragon Ball reference?
Because it's literally Tri-Beam.
It's a big space laser just being
Yeah.
cast on your opponent.
Yeah, I said the GIF in.
Is Invincible also a Dragon Ball reference?
What a Dragon Ball reference?
Invincible?
Invincible? I mean, shit, maybe, bro. I don't know.
Maybe a wee bit. Now then, we get to
It's
Yuji.
every space canon.
It's also the hand thing she does when she does Jacob's Ladder. That's like one of the references.
Now then, Yuji and Maki versus Sukuna. So,
it's so. I love that one.
this is
What?
relatively short. It's only like 2 chapters of fighting, but it is delectable.
Really good.
Because you got Yuji. Yuji can finally punch the man that's been tormenting him inside of his head after so long. He does.
No.
He does.
He
some
literally
hella
gets to
fine.
fight his demons.
He gets to fight his inner demon, who's now an outer demon that's taken over his best
I
friend.
love this one. It's so short, but also so nice.
He just the fucking leap,
Sukuna
the spread where he
fluctuating between
grabs him and he's fucking screaming at him. Oh,
I love Sukuna fluctuating between 5% power and 75%.
I love-
yeah.
I love when Maki flings Yuji at the Sukuna. That's pretty
I
funny.
Oh,
somehow
yeah, she
didn't
swings him
notice
like a
originally that when she's like, "Can you keep up?" Yeah, and then they start fighting Sukuna. At some point, to like throw him off, she grabs Yuji by the ankle and swings him at Sukuna, and he punches Sukuna, like in the fucking
Yeah.
side. That's how you throw the man off.
You know, the
Yeah,
good
it's so
detail
funny.
about the fight is throughout the entire thing, he's just focusing on Maki and not Yuji.
Yeah, that's quite obvious.
Even-
He doesn't take my
Even
boy
in the
seriously.
panels where she's swinging him, he's just looking at her.
Yeah.
Even Rame is like, oh yeah, I focus my shit on that.
Yeah. In this fight, it's really good Yuji character stuff. As I mentioned earlier, Yuji's at his best when he's at his worst. The more he suffers, the better his character is. And since this is like the new peak of his suffering, his new low point, that is really good. Just him taking it. Him just fucking tanking Cleve. Oh my lord. What a
I'm
phenomenal
sad
spread.
that we didn't get more scars out of that.
Oh, Gege would shoot himself before he has to draw that intricate of a design every fucking week.
Oh, but it would be so peak.
It would be, but alas, we have to settle for his ear and his missing pinky finger. Oh well.
And anyway,
Fucking-
Gege basically has to settle with it anyway because of what they've done with Gojo.
Right. So this fight, I would put this, it's short, but what's in there I really fucking like.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I agree. It's just like really short, but really like cool hand-to-hand shit.
I'll put this
I
just
love the
below
way
the
Sukuna
Hanami team
shows off
fight.
10 shadows as well.
Just below the Hanami team fight. Put it
That
there.
giant Nue
Fair.
is Pog.
Alright, and the last one that's on the list here, we have Sukuna versus Yorozu, which, prelude to it, people thinking Ryu's stronger than Geto, thinking Ryu's as strong as a special grade sorcerer.
Leaped.
Funny times.
He cuts him across the chest and he's just like, I can't believe you survived that. I mean, I was really holding back on you. I thought just this, like, minimal amount of power would be enough to kill you. Good job. Anyway. Anywho. Should have been Uro. Well, I'm sure she's gonna die really soon anyway, because Kenjaku said he's cleaning up shop, so, you know. Now this fight. It's interesting. There are apparently a lot of people on Twitter that really don't like this fight.
Why?
Because of Yorozu.
I see.
Yeah.
But
So
she's such a funny specimen.
she is funny. I love how hyped up Yorozu gets at that stuff. Very animated, which I like. I like that we have a high tier character using creation. Because creation is one of those techniques where I always said, yeah, it'd be really good if it was in the hands of someone who's not fucking garbage like Maya is. What if we gave this really fucking cracked power to just create matter in whatever shape you can think of to someone who's a fucking Heian era sorcerer? They do shit like making liquid metal and giving themselves bug armor.
I love how Yorozu's just a crackhead.
Yeah. And then, you know, Sukuna's just like, I need to make this as traumatizing for Megumi as possible, so I'm going to exclusively use his technique to kill his fucking sister. But that's where we get into the really sussy part of this fight. The really weird part. Which, to be fair, I mean, you have Sukuna's face here in the panel that they use for the image, where I think even to an extent he knows this is really fucking... This is a little yikesy. Where Megumi is being possessed by Sukuna, and Sumiki is being possessed by Yorozu, neither of whom are related to each other. However, the people that they're possessing are. That makes the shit that Yorozu's on really icky. It makes it really uncomfortable.
You know, Yorozu just don't care though.
It's true, she don't care. We get to see the rest of the
down.
10 Shadow stuff, which is cool. We see the bull, the deer, the bull. And then, you know, we see a neat domain expansion, which doesn't really have much in the way of visuals. But True Sphere is really cool. Like, she used that before she does her domain.
The math behind True Sphere is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I like it. It's just like, this
so
is a thing with
strong.
this is a perfect sphere. It has infinite surface tension or whatever. So if you touch it, the tension just fucking erases whatever touches it. It just disintegrates it. It just rips it apart on a molecular level. And he's like, that's so sick. Anyway, check out this thing. And then we see Maharaga again. For the first time in like 100 chapters. And I'm just like, wow! I love Maharaga. He's so cool. And then, Megumi. Oh, it's over again. Where it's never been so over before. So that's for where I would place this fight. I'd put it high B tier. I'd probably put it up into A. I just don't like that Yorozu stuff.
Valid.
I don't care for it that much.
Pretty gross.
So that's all the fights on the tier list. That's all the finished fights in the series. Behold it. You held it with your very
I just
eyes.
realized,
Yo.
counting all of the 10 shadows, there's actually only 9 unless you consider Divine Dogs as 2
The
separate
Divine Dogs do
shadows.
count as 2, it seems. Because, you know, they can stack their
Ah,
power on
then-
top of each other.
In which case, it is 10 complete.
It's 10 complete. Now, we've discussed before, it's like, oh, why doesn't he just get rid of all of his Shikigami and just stack onto Maharaga? Well, Maharaga's the big thing, which means Maharaga uses up the most cursed energy.
Yeah.
And then if you stack all of his other shit on there, you create a Shikigami that you probably can't use very often. And also,
I mean, you could just kill off the fodder ones like Toads and Rabbit Escape.
there, I guess, but they all have their applications. The thing that's good about Ten Shadow is that basically every Shikigami has a situation in which it's useful. Yeah, there you go, there's the tier list. Speaking of Maharaga, let's talk about the most current fight for a second. But before I do that, I need to go to the bathroom, so I'll be back. You guys talk about some random bullshit to entertain the audience.
Alright.
Yeah,
Oh,
you know,
you know that somebody got
You know when
before you
they
guys think
did
this
the
current
thing,
fight.
yeah, that was...
I do like the scene with Kogan as Kenjaku just saying, "I'll destroy the Culling Games if you don't add this
Yeah.
rule." It's like, but you
Alright,
can't
listen,
do it.
also, we gotta talk about the best panel that I don't think it's in the anime, but yeah, I got the best panel of Todo in the leopard print bikini, bro. Like,
Instant
I mean that's just an extra. That's the 29.5 chapter, right in the middle of the Sukuna versus Mahito fight. It's
I know we haven't included all of the fights, but what about the White House versus Kenjaku?
the White House of Kenjaku.
I'm thinking like S tier right there.
true.
Of course.
Of
President,
course,
get down.
gotta have the White House. Mr. President, down!
He's summoning a cursed spirit.
Yeah, Kendrick had a lot of really good fights, so having the one that I think it's like having so few in D tier that's testament to that. Like there's like 2 fights that he has in D tier, right?
There's only 2. I think.
Also, I like when Gojo comes back, I guess, and just like instantly locates Ghetto and
Literally,
Kenjaku.
I will say, Gojo coming back was like, that's why I started reading JJK, and I'm like, all right, we're going back to it. Like now that the man's back, I gotta read the series now.
That shit was radiant when Gojo came back.
He just boom, instantly zipped towards it. He was like, "Oh yeah, I put him into fucking the Mariana Trench, like 8,000 meters underwater."
Okay, so
But
the
he's
following:
talking.
Gojo is him.
Yeah, exactly. And like, cursed spirits, 8,000 meters underwater. Who cares?
I do like when he just slaps your roommate and it's like, who the fuck are you?
I didn't have the peak fight from Volume 0, Gojo versus Miguel, the worst ass beating of all time.
The most racially motivated.
Racially motivated.
That's when EP's combo.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm back.
Yeah, we're just talking about how they missed out on the best fight in the series, the racially motivated round
The White
Volume
House.
0 ass whooping.
I see.
Kenjaku was the White House.
What?
We talked about Gojo vs Miguel and also mentioned how
yes.
Kenjaku vs the White House was actually a great situation.
I guess it's not on here. The Miguel one's just not on here because they're basically doing manga fights, and that's not really much of a fight in the manga.
Yeah, and then like, bro, whatever studio made that movie, that's a little racist. I'm not gonna lie to you, like.
Gojo does say some kind of racist shit, where he implies that Miguel. It was something about Miguel sounding like a fucking African character in a TV show or something, and it's just like, Gojo, why did you make that comparison?
I think my favorite thing is when Yuta showed back up and he's like, "Oh, Gojo's like, oh, where's Miguel?" And he's like, "You don't want to talk to
He doesn't want to see. Why would he want to see you?
You beat his ass for 10 seconds straight."
Yeah, he
beat his
he
ass
never
and was
recovered
like,
from
okay.
that.
You
Like,
can join our side.
that is a therapy level ass whooping right there.
It's crazy.
That's what that is.
It's mad.
Beat
Welcome
his
back
ass
again,
so
Tater.
badly that he swapped sides.
So,
Literally.
let's talk a little bit about the current fight. Gojo versus Sukuna. The big fight. The fight we've been building to since chapter 2 of the fucking series. It's here.
Would
It's
you
been
like to
going on
mention
for a couple months
When
now.
he first got out of prison realm.
Getting out of prison, that was
Yeah.
fucking good.
Teleported.
Just,
Hey.
Hey.
Jaku.
It's what
I
made me
guess we
want to
can
read the
consider this
series.
just
I
as
love-
part of the Gojo
why? Because you
fight.
saw Gojo was back and you decided to read
Yeah,
it?
I'm like, well, time to get on JJK.
Time to get on
He's
JJK.
back.
It's time for big plot to happen. The
Literally.
long wait is over.
It's been a while. Have a nice rest. You had a nice rest. I think you should pick your words more wisely. They're about to be your last.
It's so the shit that he's talking about there. I can tell exactly what kind of dialogue that is coming from Kenjaku. It's when you're in a really awkward situation and you try to make small talk, where Gojo just shows up way faster than he expected, and he's just like, "Oh, hey man, it's been a while."
Also, wasn't the Wekjaku was like wasn't it like found out there was like in Moldova?
He's somewhere in like fucking Eastern Europe.
Yeah, he's like Moldova, I think. He was said.
So that means Gojo gets out of the box. He like fucking no clips up, looks over Japan. Where is he? It's the first thing he does when he gets out of the box. He goes, "Where is he?"
Yep.
How do I
just TPs?
He just teleports over to him, not really doing any kind of small talk with the man. He doesn't do what he does. He's just like.
He opens up the Gmod menu, bro. Goes like, no clip, find player.
It's just like, oh, Kenjaku, you want to talk shit, which you're really good at doing? Listen, man, you should choose your words more carefully. After all, they will be your last.
Like, oh, you changed.
Remember,
Megan.
The sacred law of talk shit, get hit.
Talk shit, get hit. These are the two characters fighting each other. The two big shit talkers are fighting each other currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Kenjaku's. Gojo makes Kenjaku fucking sweat so much.
Then Gojo fucking shit talks Sukuna, like, you ran away from Yuji, but now you want to talk stuff? How sad. And then Ramen comes in and it fucking gets fucking.
She doesn't, or they don't, but they might as well have gotten bitch slapped. It might as well have been a bitch. Because
I mean,
the way
there was like no effort. He literally like teleports into her with his fist.
You look at the way he punches Urayume. It's such a weird looking punch. It's because he doesn't really punch. He doesn't put any effort into doing it. You know, he doesn't like fucking pull his arm back and twist his waist and do it. He just puts his fist forward. He barely tries to punch them.
Teleport punched.
Yeah. And the way Sukuna dodges them, he steps out of the way a little bit to avoid them.
Doesn't he say like, "Who the hell are you?" as well?
Yeah, he shows up. He's just like, I'm not here to fucking talk to you. Who are you?
Gojo really just had an Adam Smasher moment.
He listened. He showed up. The man was in a box, a really tight space for like 3 weeks, however long that was for him.
And that is just
he was just in a bad spot for a while, and he had the person responsible for it right before his very eyes. And then, you know, the guy who was responsible for Yuji being given a death sentence, and then the guy who's possessed his fucking adopted son, pretty much. And he's just like, I'm not having this shit right now. Yeah. I'm not having it. So, you know, the setup for the fight, it is kind of rushed. I wish we had a little bit more intermission build up to it. That would have been better. But
yeah, I'm still kind of confused about the setup actually, because like, what happened with Yuji and Kusakabe? Like, what?
I guess it's all gonna get explained at some point because it's not relevant to this fight.
It's really confusing like that. It's like, oh well.
Yeah. I don't know.
Also, did Gojo have like an entire like weight room?
I wouldn't be shocked.
In like the prison realm, because how did he go from twink to jacked in the span of
Well, the thing is,
No,
Gojo's not a twink.
he got
You look at
Well, fair
Gojo.
enough.
Actually, it's more so if you look at Gojo's design in the anime, like you look at him in like Volume 0, you look at that man's shoulders, and you're like, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
Gojo's actually a big motherfucker. He just doesn't
He just
show it.
wears very loose
Yeah,
clothing.
he's 190.
He's just
He's
very
190.
He wears
190 tall.
Yeah,
pretty
he's
big.
almost he's over 6 feet tall. He's a tall son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's as tall as me.
He you know, he's a guy whose powers don't really require him to hit people. You know, so it's not like
But
he
he can still hit people.
he oh boy can he hit people.
He can hit
So
people.
they get into the actual fight. Gojo decides to dress up as Toji for some reason. He said
Gotta
he
channel
the-
the
the-
bisexuality.
Even more significant.
yeah, I don't know. He's just like, and the translations differed a little bit. One, the TCB one just says, "Oh, he's dressed like Toji," and then the other one, the Viz translation, makes it seem as if Toji's saying, "What a fucking ripoff! This guy's fucking copying my style." I'm gonna dress up as your dad to beat the fuck out of you.
Toji come back for the third time just to say you're ripping off my style.
And then he just blows his brains
it's
out
a good
again.
style.
So I love this fight. It's so good thus far, and I've discussed at length pretty much every week why I like it so much. It's because this is the end point of the power system. This is us taking all of the shit we've established throughout the entire series, and we're having the two strongest people take it to its absolute limits. Because part of why they're the strongest people is not just because their abilities are the most cracked, or they have the most cursed energy or whatever. It's because they're the best at using the rules. So you have them making silly fucking
Like the
silly
that
pacts.
scene where they like fight in the falling building is also
Yeah.
very nice.
So good. I love.
Oh, and starting off with 200% hollow purple.
Ah,
That panel
let's
is
make.
phenomenal.
That's
My
a
boy
great panel.
Ichi finally got some respect on his name.
Let me make one thing. Let me make one thing clear. You're the challenger here. Listen, Sukuna. I've been the established top of the verse. I've been the power ceiling for 220 chapters. You're the challenger here. You're just a guy who's existed as a hypothetical, and we went, yeah, this guy's really strong. I wonder how strong. Whereas me, everyone knows how strong I am.
I'm real as fuck.
I'm real as fuck. The way I view it,
Strong.
and the explanation for the things some people have been complaining about, the start of the fight is for when they're using their techniques. And it's the point at which they both realize our techniques won't really work on each other. You know, Sukuna can use domain amplification to nullify infinity, and his techniques can't really hit Gojo. So they just have to fight each other normally. But they're the two strongest characters in the verse, so they're just gonna use fucking domain expansions a bunch. Now, the chapter where they do it for the first time, I love that chapter. I love that it's 2/3 just here's 3 panels of everyone discussing amongst each other, hypothesizing of how a domain battle between these two will work.
It's
And
like
then they
one
do
of the
it!
only
And
good
then-
times. Background narration is good.
No. I think background narration is part of what makes a peak fight. Some of the best fights in anime have peak narration. Not just a narrator, but you have an audience
Like,
narrating the fight.
I don't know.
Mara
When I
versus,
take issue with it, I just don't want it to be like
the
Bucky, where
narration.
it's most
I
of
see.
the time narration.
When you
Me
look at
as a Westerner.
when you look at a lot of great anime fights, a lot of the times they have spectators. There's people commentating on the fights to explain and react. The peanut gallery. They're there to react to and explain things. And that adds a lot to fights. That's why a lot of Kengan fights are really fucking good. It's because you got the audience.
Yeah.
Audience adds a lot to a fight. Now, we get to the funniest fucking thing ever, which is Gojo's domain being destroyed and then him getting cut on the neck. and then what was it, a week or two
That was
of
just a week of
oh,
people
thank
really
God
thinking it was over.
it was just a week of people going, I can't believe it's over. Gojo's fucked. I'm like, are you people out of your fucking
The
minds?
switch up in the channel that
It's Gojo over. I'm like, you got it. You're out of your fucking mind.
they really said his head got cut off in that moment. I'm like, really?
Brother, if his head got cut off, you would see his neck and his
explode.
You would see like the middle of his neck and the base of his neck be in slightly different positions like what happened with Ryu. That's what would happen. You think a fight that we've built up for 200 chapters, and we've basically been waiting for the last 100 chapters for Gojo to get out of that fucking box. We're gonna end Gojo's return fight in 2.5 chapters. You think the fight that we've built up to for the whole goddamn series is gonna end in 2.5 chapters? I know Gege likes to do a little bit of trolling. We've gone over numerous examples of it during this stream, but you've got to be fucking insane to think he'd do that. It's delusional.
Yeah, like it's at least gonna be as long as the Mahito fight.
Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be around that ballpark. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But
and then we get the double page.
The
spread
double
when it
page
comes
spread
down to it.
of it's just like
Far better.
my Limitless is far better than your technique. It's just it's just he did what we thought he would do. It's just like, what's Gojo supposed to do? Well, he can't use his technique. I don't know, tank it. He can eat it.
He can eat those.
It's Gojo. It's Gojo levels of cursed energy. Just we already know he just does reverse curse technique all the time. Just boost it. Just fucking regenerate through the meat grinder.
He's basically just doing what Hikari does.
He got that fail on cursed energy with his 6 eyes.
Yeah,
I do love how much of like everything Gojo can do is a surprise. Like, oh yeah, there's nothing pre-established that the character can do this, but because no one's on his fucking level.
Yeah, no, it was something I kind of forgot about because it had been so long since Gojo appeared and did stuff. But I love early series stuff where it's just like, oh, Gojo can do this because he's Gojo.
Yeah.
He's him. He can just do stuff. Don't worry about it. Other people can't do these things. Don't compare yourself to Gojo because you can't compare to Gojo.
When he pulls out simple domain and
was when they were given the Black Flash explanation.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh yeah, he can do it just because he can.
Yeah.
The Gojo can do it. Fucking. It's Gojo.
The fucking listen, it's just everything that happens in this fight has a good explanation. And it's not a good explanation for something that gets introduced in this fight. It's like pre-established shit explaining why it works. Gojo, like the domain battle, it's just like, oh, the barrier. I love that it's Yuji that says it. It's just domain barriers are strong on the outside to stop you from escaping it. But if Sukuna's barrier, or if his domain is barrierless and can attack outside the range of Gojo's barrier, it'll attack the outside, and it's weak to attack. Yuji is like the one person who has made use of this in the past. So I love that he's the one that says it. Everyone's there to express something in their area of expertise, which is why Kusakabe has been great. Because he's just kind of a general knowledge guy that understands. Well, he's the simple domain guy. His
He's the second year teacher. We just never saw any of it.
Yeah, we forget Kusakabe is Gojo's coworker at the school.
He's also the teacher of the second years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
he's the second year. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be our main character's teacher next year, assuming Yuji doesn't fucking die and Kusakabe doesn't.
I also love the explanation of like
right now.
I love the revelation that Gojo is a dog shit teacher. Like, it's like,
oh
yeah, he
no,
can do all this stuff,
that
but
was
he
made.
doesn't, like,
That's what makes him a terrible teacher.
That was what's made obvious in the early series when it's like Yuji meets Yuji's interactions with Nanami, him meeting Todo. It's just like, oh, Gojo didn't really explain much of anything to you, did he?
It's like, oh yeah,
Gojo is like, I know you will be good. It's just a matter of someone else is gonna have to guide you
It's like,
through it.
of course Gojo can use simple domain. He just can't teach it because he's a dog shit teacher.
Yeah.
And then Falling
Blossom emotion.
Because it's a clan thing.
But yeah, my limitless is far better than your technique. I love how they established that. Or, it just makes sense when he says it. You just sit there and think about it for a minute. Well, we have the spread of him being put through a giant fucking blender. It's just... Oh, yeah. I love that you can see Sukuna laughing in the background of that as a silhouette. Yeah. That's
and the way he's standing on the
that spread is so fucking good. It's one of the best spreads you've gotten in a long time.
Yeah.
Of just, what do you mean it's far better? Look at what's happening to you. How can you say that? Oh yeah, it's because I'm here tanking this that I can say it's better. If our positions were swapped, you would be fucked. Because you can't, you can't tank.
You would be fucked.
You can't tank Unlimited Void. You can't tank it. You can't just go, I'm healing myself, so the effects are being nullified as the damage happens. It's your brain is being fried.
He got hit with it for like millisecond, and it fucking was like, ooh.
Well, the Viz translation seems to clear things up that he got hit with it for like 10 seconds. Which means he got hit with about 25 years worth of information. But yeah. Yeah, it's just Gojo pulls out simple domain. Why does he know that? He's Gojo. I love how fucking giant the range of his simple domain is. It's like, yeah, because it's Gojo.
Yeah, it's Gojo. Even
Yuki's
which was like, with like a 5 square radius.
Yeah, hers was like twice as big as me was. It's like, that's a big simple domain. Fucking Gojo.
Just like triple the size of him.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I provided my theory for what would happen after Gojo got his technique back. And also revealed that, oh yeah, you can use reverse curse technique to just restore your technique faster. I guess that's a thing you can do. Because I guess if, the cooldown period after you use your domain is your brain going, give me a fucking minute, that was incredibly intensive. It makes sense that you can do that. But my theory was just like, oh yeah, Gojo got his technique now. He's in a great position. If he just leaves Sukuna's domain, Sukuna will have to follow him, and then he'll be outside his domain. And then Gojo can just go, haha, fuck you, I'm going to use my own domain while you're recharging. Naturally, they didn't do that. Because they're insane. Because they're lunatics. So he's just like, I have my technique back again. What am I going to do? I'm just going to cast my domain again. I'm just going to do it again. It's just... Gojo is not a person to be one-upped. He's not one to accept such a thing. So, when it comes to someone beating him in a domain battle, he just goes, nah, I'm just gonna keep using my domain until I beat you. Until I find a way to just be better than you at using it. So, he strengthens the outside, but then Sukuna just makes his attack stronger and he breaks it. So then he goes, okay, what if I made it really big to capture you and your domain, and then I made it really small, so the domain barrier is like unbreakable, and the internal conditions are just absolutely absurd. Well, then we reach a stalemate at that point. Then it's, I cast my domain at the same time as you, we do the same shit again, but I do a better job beating the shit out of you, and your domain breaks. Then we do the domain clash again, but I'm slightly faster. So I hit you a little bit, and you get stunned, and then I hit you really fucking hard, and then I just beat you. Then I win the domain battle.
He could have took his head off there.
He could have, but it's obvious that, he wants to kill Sukuna, but in such a way that, Megumi can be revived.
He can get Megumi back.
Right. Which is a bad idea. As some people have said, you have guaranteed hit. You just fucking hit him with red or blue or a little purple. A smidgen of purple.
A condensed purple.
If you want to take all of his internal organs, just hit him with purple. They'll disappear. And then I guess Sukuna has his automated Maharaga activation. I imagine he just kind of had like a thing set up for him.
Also, he had to have tamed Maharaga.
Yeah, I guess. I suppose so, yeah.
Because it is
Well-
so much bigger.
I think a possible explanation is that Sukuna was the one that beat Maharaga previously, so it just carries over. Now that he is the one in charge, he can just use him. Now Maharaga comes out, and it's just like, ah, shit. Now we've reached the point where, oh, Gojo can win the domain battles, but now Sukuna's going to be nullifying his powers, so that they can't affect him anymore. But then Maharaga just goes away immediately, and we're like, why? Why? Oh, because Gojo has abilities that can one-shot Maharaga. You don't want that to happen. You got to keep him in the bank. Sukuna is not using 10 Shadows for combat reasons. He's using it so that he can win. And this is where we get to the point where I make my oh-so-controversial claim that once 10 Shadows gets whipped out, once we reach the point where Gojo wins the domain clash and Sukuna has to pull out Maharaga, that's the part where we say Gojo is the strongest character normally. He is stronger than Heian era Sukuna.
I would already say he is.
It solidifies it. It establishes
Maharaga, he would have just died in that domain clash.
Right. He would have died. He would have lost there if it wasn't for 10 Shadows. So original Sukuna loses. I know we talk about, the fire arrow. What's the fire arrow gonna do against Infinity?
The fire arrow can't
It's
do
the same.
anything
It's
against
listen.
Infinity.
It's the same reason. It's the same reason he wasn't using Cleave and Dismantle. It's because it can't get through Infinity. He has to use Domain Amplification.
Which is pretty cool that he can use domain amplification while he's got his domain out.
Yeah, it makes sense because it's not him using the technique anymore. It's the domain. Yeah. Kisuke disagrees about Gojo being stronger than Heian era Sukuna. I will hear your arguments. Now we get to the most recent chapter, where some people complain about how we're not really seeing them throw out a bunch of insane techniques. But I mean, it's really obvious as to why they aren't, because Sukuna can't use his techniques to attack Gojo. They can't do their domains anymore. Oh, yeah. Before we get to that, we should talk about how fucking funny the chapter before that is.
Yeah.
It's just, Gojo, you've pushed yourself so far. You are fucking pushing your brain to the absolute limits. Gojo has encountered a limit. There is a limit that Gojo can't break through yet. It's finally fucking happened. I can't believe it. The ceiling is real now. Gojo is not all-powerful. He has a limit that he can reach if he is pushed to it. And there's only one person that can push him to that. It's fucking Sukuna. So Sukuna's the shit talk. Gojo shit talks people because he can, because he's the strongest character. He can talk mad shit because everyone's weak compared to him, and he can just annihilate them. Sukuna's the only person of a relative power to Gojo, so he can shit talk Gojo. But the sort of shit he was talking, oh my god!
It's so dumb.
It's just, goodbye, strongest sorcerer. You were born in an era without me, and that's why people thought you were the strongest. But it's because you were born in this era that you are so painfully ordinary. Listen, Sukuna, I know you want to demoralize this man before he dies. You want to break his spirit before you kill him. Who has fought you like this before? Have you ever fought anyone in a battle this extreme?
Level 6 eyes? I don't know.
I have no idea. Because the way it's been described is that Sukuna was not as feared in his era as Gojo is in the modern era, because there wasn't that gap. So there were a lot more people comparable in strength to Sukuna than there are in this era. But the difference is that for most of the modern era, there's Gojo. And then there's the special grade sorcerers who are kind of beneath him a bit. They're a tier below Gojo. They are not really relative to him. And then everyone else is garbage. In Sukuna's era, it's Sukuna, and then everyone else is a tier below him. So the conditions were a bit different. But they're still very comparable in strength. It's just their reputations, the way they're perceived in their respective eras were different, just because of the conditions of the eras. But, Sukuna, have you actually fought anyone this strong before? Have you ever had to have 5 domain clashes with a person in a fight? I don't think you have. I don't think you had to steal a person's body to have a special power nullifying technique, an adaptability power in order to beat them. So you're
You've got to have like one Choji, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh damn. Probably multiple.
Yeah. It's just like, bro, I don't know if you've had enough of a low diff fight to be able to say, you were just average. You were mediocre at best. You were painfully ordinary.
True.
After having that difficult of a fight with him, when you just almost fucking died, which has never happened in any fight you've been in. It's mad shit.
We do love fraud Kuna.
And then you say that, and then your fucking brain explodes. You have major brain bleed.
Guys.
That page turn.
Brain blast.
A brain butt. That page turn
Yeah,
was
it was so good.
so funny. So good. It's all that mad shit, and then just oh.
I love your reaction to it. It was like
I mean, it was a very shocking moment. What can I say? For Sukuna to be in such a state. That was one of the things I was looking forward to the most about this fight. Is that all of his other fights are relative low diffs, in which he's pretty much unscathed after them. To then fight someone on the same level. I want to see what happens when Sukuna's getting the shit kicked out of him. Like when someone's just beating on him. To see Sukuna bleeding from the eyes and nose like that, from no apparent attack, is like, holy shit. Oh my fucking god. And then Gojo's just going back to it. That was one of the only chapters where I actually prefer the Viz translation for a page. Where he's like, listen, my students are watching, so can you help me look even cooler? And just go back to beating each other.
And that shit-eating grin he shows off
That
afterwards.
fucking shit-eating grin.
That shit eating.
And they just go to beating each other, and then we get to the thing Dio complains about, where it's just CQC. As I was saying earlier, before I remember to talk about that chapter.
That's so perfect.
It's great CQC. Why are they doing all CQC? Well, Sukuna can't use his techniques to touch Gojo. He has to use domain amplification to hit him, because they can't use their domains anymore. But he can't use any of his techniques when using domain amplification. So he's got to resort purely to fisticuffs until Gojo uses his techniques on him enough times for Maharaga to adapt to it. Obviously, Gojo doesn't want that to happen. So he's going to stick entirely to just fucking melee, to just CQC until...
He does use like blue.
See you, Tater. Yeah, he uses
He
blue.
might make like fucking ball.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the instances of the wheel spinning. So he's obviously going to use his technique very sparingly. He's going to save uses of infinity only for moments where he thinks he can probably land a lethal blow. So they're essentially in a perfect stalemate with each other right now. Whoever wins the stalemate is going to win the fight. And that's why, it seems like the fight's going to end within the next few chapters. We have the end conditions. The countdown has begun. Will Gojo land a lethal strike before Sukuna can adapt to infinity? I don't know who's going to. I think the most likely outcome is, honestly, some kind of draw.
Sukuna.
I would not be shocked
kind
in
of
all honesty.
stalemate would be the best.
Yeah, that's of course the secret third option that would surprise the most people.
Yeah.
It would, usually.
But like I still think Sukuna is slightly more likely because
narrative.
Like, oh, what we're gonna do now?
Here's what I think. I think it's possible Gojo loses, but he survives. Because what I think happens, most likely, as soon as it's like, I've won, bang, Kashimo appears. Because he's waiting. He's the man at the front of the line to go fight Sukuna.
Kashimo does.
It's like, we're like, the Jujutsu High heavy hitters are waiting to clean up Sukuna if Gojo loses.
That's true.
But Kashimo...
That sounds really plausible.
Kashimo accepted resurrection for a fucking reason. It's so he can fight Sukuna. He has his technique he can only use once, and he's saving it for this man. He's got to use it on him. So I think the most likely outcome is going to be Sukuna adapts to infinity and finds a way to beat Gojo, and then Kashimo appears and fucking pushes him to the other side of the country. The way I've imagined it is it's one of those things where in one of the big crazy anime fights where someone's like doing a rush beating the shit out of a person and they're just moving. They're pushing them through wherever they're fighting. And Kashima's just so fucking fast.
Like
they're gonna go across Japan.
Kill 6 billion demons, like that.
Yes, just like that one, yeah. Just like when he's beating him and they're going across the ocean and then they're going through dimension. It'll be like that. It'll be like that, where Kashima's just gonna...
I love that scene in Kill 6 billion demons. That's so stupid.
Good. It's so good.
You know,
so good.
I'd say the best comparison for the beginning of round 2, where it's now just a punch out, it's like the final part of the Gurren Lagann fight against the anti-spiral.
Where you punch God.
Yeah, just, you know, fisticuffs.
You just get in a fisticuff fight with God. It's as simple as that.
The best way to do it.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, I think that's probably the most likely outcome, because we gotta save the heavy hitters for fighting Kenjaku. And I wouldn't be surprised...
And whatever Kenjaku creates.
Whatever Kenjaku creates, I wouldn't be shocked. I know it's not theoretically possible, but, you know, he did it with Tengen. I would not be shocked if Sukuna ends up being reduced to a more curse-like state, where he doesn't have his body anymore, and gets really weakened. And then Kenjaku goes, "Hi, this is what I wanted you for," and then fucking absorbs it.
Imagine Kenjaku just
like
what he did to
Mahito.
Sukuna.
Yeah, using fucking Uzumaki, he'd level half the country. And I think, listen, I also think that's probably the way that you make Kenjaku strong enough to be the final boss. Because Sukuna's currently notably stronger than him. So how do we make Kenjaku stronger? It's either that, or he makes the merger curse and he fucking absorbs it. I wouldn't be shocked if we have to fight like a proto version of the merger curse either. I imagine that'll be a thing for like the more normal people to fight that thing, just in mass. And then Yuji has to get involved in some way. Oh yeah, Yuji. Okay, new prediction. Sukuna beats Gojo. Kashimo shows up before he can kill him, and then just eats the shit out of Sukuna even more, but using his technique kills him. Or Sukuna, he burns himself out. Sukuna doesn't die, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of here," and annihilates whatever's left of Kashimo. But he just fought. He just fought Gojo for a dozen chapters. Brain is fucking fried, so he can't use domain expansion. And then just burned himself out even more fighting Kashimo, who's just gonna be disgusting. Just gonna be so gross. And then who do we have? Who do we have show up that can clean up Sukuna in that state? That's when Yuji shows up.
Yeah, now Sukuna's on Yuji's level. Bam.
Yeah. We brought him to a level where Yuji can fight it. I think that is the most likely outcome. That is currently what I imagine happening, because that just seems to float. Yeah, that makes the most sense.
That sounds very good.
Now, knowing Gege, some other shit will happen. But, you know, that's my current theory.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And, that's all I have to say about the fight thus far. Right. I love it. It's going to be S tier somewhere.
Definitely S2.
I don't know where I'll put it. Very high. Very high up.
Where would you
Hashimo's gonna turn his body into a human furnace.
Currently? Let's see here.
That may kill God or something.
Might kill God. Currently, I think I might place it... I place it above the Dagon fight. I might place it above Yuji versus Choso. Just because the reason I like that fight so much is just the fighting, for the most part. And this fight has that. A lot more of that. And way greater caliber. So I wouldn't be shocked. The real question is, can it beat the end of Shibuya? I don't know if it can, because while it does have the hype payoff, it doesn't have the emotional payoff that the Mahito fight has.
And the conclusion's going to be a big part on whether it beats that.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'll probably consider it all, like just the Sukuna fight, I'll consider to be one fight. In that case, it'll have, if it has the Yuji payoff in there, which is the emotional payoff, oh yeah, it's the best fight in the series, which, let's be real here, is what we all wanted. Everyone wants the big Sukuna fight to be the best fight in the series. That's what we all hoped it would be. And thus far, we're getting what we wanted, I would say. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
I would say
I agree.
this fight is of the quality that I expected and hoped it would be. So I have no complaints, and I'm very excited to see where the fight goes from here. But you know, with that is all I have to say for today's stream.
Wonderful.
That's everything I wanted to go over. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I certainly did. I hope those of you
your different opinions.
I love this is why you got to do VC streams. It's always best to have more people talking, more opinions, more perspectives. So I love doing streams. I know the streams have become quite rare these days. I don't expect that to change too much unless I really do find myself in another spot where I just don't really have anything I'm doing. You know, I do the streams because they're fun, but I've had other fun stuff that I've been doing that I've, you know, just wanted to do more. I'll probably reach a point where I've run out of games that have been on the backlog for a long time that I've really wanted to play, and, you know, there'll be weeks where we're not fucking playing D&D every other day. So, you know, there'll be streams that if I can think of things to do streams on, or, you know, it'll just be a chill stream. Just be hanging out and talking. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, I'll see you around. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Farewell.